Oh, I think we're live a little early tonight, but that's okay because it's getting chilly out there. It's a New Year's Armchair Chirpers New Year's episode.
Wow. Yeah, it is almost 2025, so it's as Jeff would say, greetings and salutations, folks, from the world headquarters of Armchair Chirpers. We'd like to welcome our good friend
Brian. Do we actually have to welcome him anymore?
Well, just for those of you who are listening, I'm not Jeff. He's in Mexico.
Shockingly. No, Cuba.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, someplace.
Cuba.
Hanging out with Fidel.
He's
dead.
Don't drink the water, man.
Yeah, don't drink the water. No. Yeah, he's down drinking Cubas, which is basically
smoking Cubas.
Yeah, smoking Cubas probably. And
Cuatro cervezas.
Por favor. Yeah, so he's lapping up the sunshine. Love you, brother. Wish you were up here, but understand why you aren't. And on the other end, we've got our good buddy Lester.
Yeah.
And we're
you got to do
looking for a good show. Before we get going though, we want to acknowledge our lovely sponsor, Reboot Repair, Stratford's best computer support and services, personalized IT solutions, hardware, software repairs, on-site business services. Reboot Repairs. Guys, Cam and Dylan, thank you so much for letting us use your lovely office to shoot our shows and all your IT work. I saw Dylan there Friday night helping you out, Halser.
Yeah, shout out to Dylan again. It seems like I do that every week, to be honest with you. He helped us with the live taping of the OSHL podcast Friday night at the Willie.
Awesome.
And it was a lot of fun.
That's great.
It was a pretty cool experiment.
Yeah, I saw 5 of you guys.
There's 7 total, but a couple of the guys, like one's Patio's up in Dunville, and Bill Newman lives in Trent Hills.
Okay.
Which is, I'm not going to lie, I don't know where that is.
I don't
it's
either.
East of Toronto.
In Ontario.
Yeah. Wherever the Central Ontario teams are, he's there. And so there was just the 5 of us, just as well, because we only have 4 mics.
Right.
And shout out to the Armchair Chirpers for loaning us the mics.
Anything for you guys.
Dylan put it all together. We started off on the north side of the building, and we couldn't make that happen because there's no power supply over there.
Geez.
So we slid over, and so we just took over the VIP section.
Dylan said we'd come over, and he said, we tried the power. I said, I meant to say something to Brian that the power supply up there doesn't work. And if you look by the post, there's a power supply they put in because we had to get it put in for the other broadcasters that come down to the Almond. So they put that snake there, and Dylan says, no, we found it. I said, good.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we went probably where we should have went in the first place, hanging out in the VIP section. So if you stopped by on Friday night, thanks for stopping by. It was a lot of fun.
It was. A shout out to Kirk and Tammy Marquette from Railside Organics. Put on a great show for everyone. They were buying drinks for the Armchair Chirpers and everyone that was coming through there. So
and I hope everybody got your free samples.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a great crew there, and just can't say enough about wonderful people that they are. One of the big sponsors of the Fighting Irish.
Yep.
It was packed up there in the VIP lounge. So kudos to Kirk and Tammy. Thanks so much for your hospitality.
All right, let's get right into it.
Yes.
It's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, the World Juniors. So Saturday night.
Funny thing happened on the way to the Latvia game.
So,
right?
They lose Saturday night. They got goalie. If you ask me, they got goalie. This kid stood on his head.
For sure.
It's hockey, man. That happens.
And, I'm going to get this right out of the way right away. Yes, they are teenagers, but they know the assignment. We collectively at this table were brought up in the golden age of junior hockey in Canada. They didn't win their first goal till 82. Something happened in 87, and we all know what that was, the punch-up in Piastani. Mm-hmm. And after that, who took the rights to the broadcasting rights to the World Juniors? TSN.
Mm-hmm.
So then it became a national coverage sport. It was hard to get before that on TV to watch a juniors game. CBC had it a little bit, but you wouldn't get all the games here and there. And it was a bad format at the time as well because there was no medal rounds.
Right.
right? I don't know which year the medal round came in.
Well, they played it just like the Olympics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where everybody played, and then whoever had the most points at the end won the
gold.
Yeah.
So after the Piastani punch-up, if you don't know what the Piastani punch-up is, folk, look it up online. It'll be the funniest. If you've never seen a bench clearing brawl, let alone a bench clearing brawl in the dark.
They couldn't stop it, so
Yeah.
they had to shut the
Well,
lights
the
off.
Russians didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
Because they'd never seen anything like
Probably
it.
never seen one before.
And some of the guys on that team,
Shanahan.
Theo Fleury,
Yeah.
these guys were crazy.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't giving up anything. And it was just but yeah, look it up on YouTube and watch the brawl because it's probably one of the best things you'll ever see. So around that time it changed. In the 90s, we were spoiled with gold medals.
5 straight.
5 straight.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, we were spoiled with gold medals.
Yeah.
Then other teams started to show up, starting to play the North American game. And why is that? A lot of their players are playing in North America. In this tournament alone, besides on Team Canada, there are 60 CHL players playing in this tournament. So they're not playing the European game.
Right.
They are playing the North American game. And they know how to play it now. And we've seen it. And people complain, oh, Canada's blah, blah, blah. And then they face the Germans. They had a tough time there again. But I'm going to go back to the makeup of this team. This team they're not naturally scoring goals and they're not producing goals. And that's a big problem.
Right. There's no Canadians in the top 8 in scoring.
Yep.
Top 7 in scoring, top 8 in goals, or top 8 in assists. There's no Canadians.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, Russia's not here.
Right. Yeah,
The
exactly.
guys that usually dominate, who beat the Kazakhstans 19-0,
Yep.
they aren't here.
They aren't here.
And you look at a guy like Easton Cowan. Well, it all depends who you're playing with as well.
Yeah.
Like these guys got to try and make chemistry right away, right at it. They're trying to get chemistry. If chemistry's not working, Dave Cameron's got to switch up these lines and get the chemistry going. Like your best player is now out of the tournament. You know,
Well,
separated shoulder.
Yeah, he's
So that's your best player, Schaefer.
yeah.
He was your best player.
Matthew Schaefer.
Gavin McKenna's having another, but he's 16 years old. He's not going to carry this
He
team.
might end up being the best player.
He
on
might
the
end
team,
up
he's
being,
not
but
there
if
yet.
he's the best player, then we have some problems because Gavin McKenna cannot carry this team.
Right.
He ain't Bedard.
I think
Right.
you're going to get guys like Cowan once they get their footing and, they're going to start lighting it up. But I was absolutely shocked when I was researching.
And then after that game, they lose, and it is the biggest upset in Canadian hockey history.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Yeah.
by far the biggest upset.
There's been big losses, but not an upset where you
that's
go
an
into the
upset.
game going, okay, well, this is an automatic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people go on, oh, you got to remember it's a teenage tournament. Gold is not gold. It's gold or bust in Canada, and that's the way this tournament's been for years now.
That's the expectation.
And that's what we've
Unfairly or
ingrained to all
not.
these people coming up watching this. TSN ingrains it. They show it. Gold, gold, gold.
It's just kind of frustrating. Like, Jeff had a good write-up on the Armchair Chirpers Facebook page, and he was like a lot of us. We were disappointed at all of the spewing. We all saw it, right? But they're kids, and I get it. They know what they signed
They
up
know
for.
what they signed up for.
But it reminded me of like 72 with Phil Esposito, right? In Vancouver, where he's like, folks, like we're playing our best. It's not like as if we're not trying.
Yeah.
And, it basically, all that was missing after that upset loss to Latvia was somebody like Phil Esposito talking to the media, because the whole country, it's one game. It was early. They're gonna be okay. Their goalie is their best player. He's the only one leading any statistical category
Well,
right
the problem
now.
is they put in the 17-year-old Ive Vonikov, the kid that played for Canada against Latvia. So their best goalie was not in the net, and Carter George.
And
Yeah,
you
so
can't blame
George-
the goaltender.
No, you cannot blame the goaltender. You got to blame my biggest problem with this tournament, and people that know me know I have an affinity for not liking referees, but
Really? Have you heard that, Razor?
Yeah, right.
I've seen some questionable calls in this tournament, not just on the Canadians, everywhere.
It's funny listening to Mike Johnson.
That's
Just
not a penalty.
That's not a penalty. Like he sounds.
That
like
is just a
I
shove.
thought to myself, I thought, when did Les start doing commentary for this games? You know
but
what?
it's true. It's
Carter George of the Owen Sound Attack, 2-0 with a 1,000 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Jack Ivankovic from Brampton Steelheads, he didn't play bad.
No, but
like it wasn't his fault.
he didn't get any help either.
He didn't get any help. He stopped 7 out of
the first
8.
7. Yeah.
Right. He let one in. The
All you
poor
do is
guy.
score one, guys.
Right.
Just score one.
Right.
If there's,
But-
I think if there's any real criticism to be had here, it's how absolutely dreadful the sum of those penalty shot attempts looked. Cowan,
Yeah.
I grew
What
a
was
beard.
that?
I grew a beard waiting for this kid to skate in and get to the net. My
Where-
God, it was probably 30. There should be
Yeah.
a time limit. It's like you
Where's
got 5
Jonathan Taves when you need
Right.
him?
Oh my goodness!
I'm sitting there and I
That
said to
was
the
only
boy, I
thing
said,
that I was upset about.
I said to the boy, I said, "Where's Jonathan Taves when we need him?
Right.
He could take the next 5
And what I love about it is that you can have one guy keep shooting
After the 5,
time
yep.
after two.
And
Yeah, after the 5.
Ivankovic robbed the 3rd or 4th guy.
Yes,
He had
yes.
him beat glove side, and he
Yeah.
stuck it out there and robbed
Yeah.
him. And they went, okay, now somebody.
You know what was
Somebody's gotta pick 'em
you
up.
know what was disappointing to me was 2 of the defensemen that didn't make it, Zane Perrick from Saginaw Spirit and Carter Yakimchuk from the Calgary Hitman. They both liked a tweet after Canada lost 3-2. They both liked the box score of Canada losing to Latvia. I just thought that was pretty shitty.
Well, no, I don't blame them.
Wow.
I would do the
get
same.
it.
If you got cut from the team and thought you deserved to be on that team,
That's sour grapes. To
Yeah,
me,
it
that's
happens
sour
all the time.
grapes,
Happens
but
all the time. Good
They
on
may
them.
have thought it,
yeah,
but they got to be better than that. They
Well,
got to be
you
better.
also have to be aware.
they're
of,
18-year-old kids.
I get it.
Are
I
they
get
drafted?
it.
I think so. I think both of them are
That's
already
not
drafted,
something
so.
you want to do before you're drafted. It
Right.
might reflect negatively on your report.
But there was 3 or 4 other forwards that were in the same boat. Didn't say a thing. I like that class. To me, it just cheapens them.
Well, you know what? Unsurprisingly, I had a little different take on it. I actually felt warm and fuzzy after the game.
And why is that, Brian?
Why is that? Did you watch those kids?
Yeah.
They just won the lottery. They just think about the best thing that could ever happen to you, and look at those kids celebrate.
The Latvians.
The Latvians.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Canadians
Yeah.
weren't celebrating, so it wasn't a hockey game anymore. It was history.
Right.
It was the biggest win in the history of the franchise, something that exceeded expectations by so much that you didn't even realistically allow yourself to believe it would happen. They didn't just beat Canada, they beat Canada in Canada.
The Latvian Al Michaels was announcing saying, "Do you believe in miracles?"
And,
Right.
and the thing was,
So watch these kids dance around and celebrate. They're singing, and how many times have our hearts pounded out of our chests while we watch a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old kids singing our national anthem at the end of a hockey
Right.
game with every ounce of passion that they could drum up. And this was now the Latvians doing this. And the reason that I felt warm and fuzzy about this is that, number one, I was just so happy for these kids. But then I immediately realized this don't do nothing.
No.
This doesn't mean
No.
anything
No.
to their quest for the gold medal. Fun fact, in the COVID year, 20 or 21, they lost the first game, won the gold medal.
Yep.
It's a round robin game. If it is the quarterfinals and we
Right.
walk in and we lose to Latvia and don't look good doing it,
Different story.
I've got a different attitude. But it's the round robin. We're going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
The other division outside of Sweden is dog shit. Czechia is the closest thing to a half-decent opponent. Don't finish
And
fourth.
Sweden.
Well,
You
you-
don't, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah,
outside
yeah,
of
yeah,
Sweden,
yeah.
the rest of the division is dog
It
shit.
is.
you
It
want
is.
you want to finish one or
Slovakia,
two in our
Kazakhstan.
group. You want to finish 1 and 2 in our group.
They both
But
have
at the end
9
of the day,
points.
Who cares?
Yeah.
So you got to play Czechia. Boo hoo.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not your problem. You got to beat Sweden. You got to beat the U.S. and you got to beat Finland.
Yeah.
So the
So
next day
who
we do get
cares,
the
really,
next.
if they lost this game.
Yeah.
let them have their fun. You've just made a lifelong. These guys won't have to buy a drink in Latvia for the rest of their lives.
They'll
and
talk
we're sitting
about
here
it.
going, "Oh, kill the teenagers! Who gives a shit? It's a
Yeah.
round robin."
Exactly.
Like I said, if they lose in the quarterfinals to a Latvian team, on top of that, they outshot them about 60 to 26,
56 to, something like that.
So the
something,
kid
yeah.
made 54 saves. A lot of them from
Leinart's
point blank,
Feldberg.
and then stopped 8 consecutive penalty shots. He earned it.
Yeah.
They earned the win.
Yep.
This is why we
Hands
play
down.
the game, sports fans.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it does nothing to our reputation. It does nothing to our opportunity to win gold medal in the tournament. So in the end of the day, tip your cap. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Go get drunk. You're
Yeah.
about to get pounded by the U.S. tomorrow morning because you're all hungover, and let's carry on with the tournament.
Well-
The bigger concern is not losing to Latvia. The bigger concern is that they went 5.5 periods against Latvia and Germany
Without a
without
goal.
scoring
Right.
a 5-on-5 goal.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yep. And the problem is, like, okay, so the next day we get some help from Finland. They beat the U.S. So that has
In
you could win
overtime.
tomorrow
that
night,
has
still win the
have us.
freaking
Yeah,
division.
it has us on even terms
Yeah.
with the U.S. going into probably the matchup everybody's been looking forward to. And I
Right.
said it. I can't wait. That's gonna be. And everybody goes, "Oh, we got to get past sure." Who cares?
Yeah.
I didn't care. I'm waiting for it tomorrow night
Yeah.
because that is going to be the measuring stick.
Yeah.
They
One
don't
of
have
these
to
two
win. If
teams.
They make it to overtime. They still get the third place finisher, which is probably Slovakia.
Yep.
Ooh,
Right.
scary, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
Well, the Slovaks almost got beat today.
well, that
Yeah.
was, I tell you what, I was going to talk about that. I'm on a treadmill at the Crunch Gym. It's 4-2, and this meathead teenager from Kazakhstan, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. I will say this, Bayaval. And he cross-checks this kid in the face and gets away with it. And the kid comes back and says, "Hey, you cross-checked me in the face." So what does he do? He cross-checked him in the face again.
Perfect.
Gets a 5-minute major penalty. There's 4.5 minutes left in the game. You're down 4-2, and he's probably done. He's probably almost guaranteed a suspension
Right.
for the last game. He might be back in time for the relegation game against Latvia, I think, because they lost today.
I think Jeff's had a few to drink.
Uh-oh.
Hola, from Cuba. He fixed it.
Como está, amigo? So
Yes.
anyhow, so it's 4-2 for Slovakia. Meathead takes his 5-minute cross-check penalty, leaves the ice, and they turn it over at the blue line, only 30 or 40 seconds into the power play. They turn it over at the blue line. Kazakh guy goes flying down the left wing, takes a shot, hits the defenseman's stick, and goes 5-hole on the goalie, and it's 4-3. And I'm going, isn't that interesting? And I'm just just doing my usual thing at the Crunch Gym, keep walking, ain't going nowhere. And all of a sudden, same play, flying down the left-hand side. And only this time, he does a Daryl Sittler from 76. He fakes a shot because the goalie's out, goes this way, goes 5-hole again. Holy shit, it's a tie game. And the place is going nuts. Every Canadian there is suddenly the biggest Kazakhstan fan. Now, in the end, Slovakia
Won in overtime.
won in overtime.
Right.
Because they're still Kazakhstan.
Yep. Yeah.
I
And
think,
then
I think it's Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan. I like that one. I'm just going to let him go
That's
with
the Don Cherry vocabulary.
Sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I do about old man.
it. All I can say is last night when Canada scored that second goal, there was a country that went,
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a shitty one.
it was,
Yeah.
well,
Like a greasy.
you got the great bounce off the back end. In Stratford, you hit it off the back end and it comes back to you. That's the Shane O'Brien goal, right?
Well, after
a
two
Shane O'Brien
periods,
classic, I think,
Stratford. After 2 periods, Canada had only outshot Germany 19-18,
Yep,
so
yep.
they were right there with them.
And give them full
Yes.
marks. They came out and blew Germany's doors off. I mean,
Exactly.
the next thing you know, the shots are 34-21.
Yeah.
Like 15-3 or whatever the shots were by
Yep.
the time they scored that second goal. So, I mean, in the end, it's a typical hand-wringing, hockey-crazy country
Yep.
worried about a bunch of teenagers winning a championship. And again, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, there's still an asterisk because the Russians aren't here.
Yeah.
And all that matters is that we're going to play U.S. tomorrow night. And even then, we
Yep.
can lose to them and still go walking in there, finishing third, playing Czechia in the quarterfinals.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no.
What is it Roger said a couple years ago? Everybody relax.
Yeah, you're right. And I don't know if you guys noticed the backup goalie for Germany last night was Cambridge Redhawk goalie Leonard Neese.
I did see that.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was nice to get him in the lineup, and he gets his name on the score sheet,
Nice.
right? So that was nice.
And I
it's
think
good
it
to see.
warrants Carter George getting a chunk of time.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
former St. Mary's Lincoln.
I do not
yes.
think Carter George is coming out of the net for the rest of the
He
No,
season.
shall
I
not
think
be
it's
coming out
I
of the
think
net
it's
for the
his
rest.
his position to lose here.
Even
So-
while everybody was wringing their hands and the team looked a little frustrated and nervous in the second period, there was one guy in the rink that was just, he was doing his Ken Dryden, leaning on a stick going,
Yeah.
we're good, man. Just maybe get me one more in case there's a bad bounce or something. But it just, the demeanor on this kid
Yeah.
belies his age. Keep in mind, he's an 06.
Is he?
He's 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not even 19 yet. Normally you and I follow enough junior hockey to know the real stud goaltenders
Yep.
in junior hockey are generally 20-year-olds.
Yep. And it's usually a 19, 20-year-old tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this kid is a 2006, a second-round pick for the LA Kings, and who is raising their draft stock, like their stock, more than Carter George is this week.
Right.
I
And-
mean, he didn't just shut out Germany; he shut out Finland, and they didn't really look like I felt like we could play another period against Finland, and they still weren't going to score.
Yeah.
So tomorrow night is going to be a test, though,
Yep.
for this.
Well, that's a
This
stacked team over there in the U.S.
That
Very good.
Cody Hudson kid, brother of the kid in Montreal. My God, is he good?
Yes.
But
he
ever
gets 5
since-
points, and he's still not even the player of the game.
Ever since though, the U.S. ended up doing the hockey hotbed there in Michigan,
Yep.
where they would bring all the top kids into a program, they've just been lights out.
Yeah.
Like they've won a couple of World Juniors. They've just raised the stakes. Like you go all the way back to what was it? The Challenge Cup. It wasn't called the Canada Cup. Like when Keith Tkachuk and all of them upset
was the
Canada.
Challenge Cup.
Was it the Challenge Cup?
Or is that? Am I thinking of another?
I forget.
The
what
World
it
Cup.
was.
The World Cup.
World
The
Cup.
World Cup.
Cup.
World Cup of hockey.
Thank you. And they had Mike Richter in net and Tkachuk and that.
Roenick and Leach.
Yeah.
When they won that tournament, that was a
Chelios.
blow to Canada's ego.
Well, that was great. Now it wasn't as great as '81, like when.
but it's too bad that's the
Gretzky
last
and
time we had
Lemieux and all of them.
a real best on
Exactly.
best competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Sochi Olympics.
Yeah,
I feel
Sochi was-
the
yeah.
best.
Yeah,
We sent our absolute best and we dominated.
yeah.
And I don't think
It was
there
it was
any-
kind of anticlimactic.
Well, you
like
couldn't score on us. That was
right.
the thing.
Well,
I mean,
Carey
Sochi-
Price was like just
Well,
a
that
wall.
and the fact that the speed of this team and it was that was our golden era.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to the juniors,
Yep.
the strike year
94,
04,
06,
06.
06 in
And it
North
was,
Dakota.
It's
05,
Crosby,
05, sorry, North Dakota.
Crosby and Bergeron on one line.
And
Yeah.
pounded Ovechkin out of the game.
Carter and Richards on another line. Getzlaff and Perry on a third line.
Jeez.
And
Crazy.
so that was, and then all of those guys grew up and went to Sochi.
Yeah.
And added on everybody else from other birth years. And I kind of feel like that's the best team we sent since '87.
Vancouver was pretty good too, with Sid's golden goal.
That was a beautiful team.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Sochi was the year where we just owned them. And it's always been different for a Canadian team going over to Europe
Yeah.
and playing on the larger ice with the different time zones and
Right.
the travel and you can't talk about refereeing anymore. You used to be able to talk about refereeing,
Yeah.
but now it's all NHL referees that are
right.
Yeah, that do the big.
that are
Yeah.
Yeah,
doing these
yeah.
games, and boy, to go back to my original point. This Carter George kid is just absolutely.
He's lights out.
Yeah.
He's lights out, and
he's
and
so
they-
impressive. The mental makeup of this kid.
And when you're not scoring,
For an
you
18-year-old.
need a goalie bailing
He,
you out.
and he went after the empty net last night. He tried to
did.
score.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
tried to score.
Yeah, he
And good
did.
for him, because it was like they said, it was the perfect opportunity. Right into his glove
to
and put it down and
shoot
shoot
it to the
it.
glove hand and drop it straight down and give it a shot.
Yeah.
And he
Good
looked
for
like-
him. Good for him.
Hey, I
You
wanna
could see it with
do,
that shit-eating grin on his face after
Yeah.
the whistle. It's like, man, that was, and
They
he's
showed
like-
his dad,
he's
right?
actually, He's
Yeah.
probably hearing it from his D going, dude, you missed by like 20 feet. Like, it wasn't close. Like,
I wanted to give a shout out, Les, you had mentioned him earlier, Matthew Schaefer from the Erie Otters, out for the tournament, broken clavicle, needed surgery. He's going to miss the rest of the World Juniors.
He's gonna miss the rest of his
He's gonna miss
season.
The rest of the
January,
season, yeah.
He's gone for a while.
He had a goal and an assist in the 4-0 win versus Finland, but I don't think a lot of people know this
And he's
story.
16 years old.
Is he only
He's
16?
16 years old.
Okay, I was doing some research, and the poor guy has just had so much adversity in his life. His mom, Jennifer, passed away this past February from breast cancer. If that's not enough, his billet mom in Erie passed away 3 months earlier. I don't want to say how she passed away, but the poor kid, within 3 months, lost not only his billet mom, but his biological mother. Now he's got this to deal with. So, hey, Matthew Schaefer, get well soon, buddy. The Armchair Chirpers are thinking of you, man.
This kid is going to be a stud
Yeah.
yes, he is.
in the NHL.
Yeah. And I felt bad because when you look at the replay, he took the shot. He's looking at the rebound, not at the post. And he went
Yeah, it's
like
it's
full
almost
tilt
an odd kind
right
of-
into
Yeah.
it, like with his left shoulder.
Like he-
and
Well,
He
being a
didn't get pushed.
defenseman, maybe just wasn't supposed to be there.
no,
I said
he's
that.
offensive.
When you skate like he
Yeah.
does, the
Yeah.
net comes
Yeah.
up awful bloody quick.
Yeah.
I've
So,
often said I'd love to skate like Bure, but I'd probably kill myself on the inboards.
And the thing is, if because in the World Juniors, if you're 16, you have to wear that cage, right?
Yeah.
If he didn't have the cage on an visor, you
Oh
wouldn't
my
tell he was
God.
16 years old. Till you
Yeah.
looked at him, he looks like he's 12.
yeah.
But my God, him and Gavin McKenna. Gavin McKenna has impressed me very much.
Yeah,
the
he
kid
had-
is good.
He had the opening
He-
goal against the Finns.
He tried a goal last night between his legs, and he almost put that thing in.
Oh,
If he would have put that thing in, it would have
yeah,
been.
he's not quite Bedard level, but he's
Well,
pretty
It's not.
goddamn
he-
good.
he's not as good as his cousin, but close enough.
Yeah.
He's gonna go. He'll be a number 1 draft pick.
They're going to be all right. They
Him and
just
Schaefer
gotta-
in the same draft year.
He's
We're
a-
gonna get that.
yeah,
Who's going number 1, right?
They need guys like Cowan to step it up.
Yeah. They
start
need to
leading.
produce goals, and they need to do it fast.
100.
So you bring him up. Is it just me? He just doesn't look that good to me in this tournament.
Well,
He doesn't. I think it's his.
Is,
I
is
think
it
it's his
still
line.
the effects.
I
Is
don't
it the
think he's
effects of the
100%.
hit before the tournament. Is it his line mates? Who knows, right?
It could be.
He doesn't look sharp.
Well,
Actually, another guy that's looked pretty good is his London teammate Bonk.
Yeah.
Oh, flyer draft pick.
Yeah.
Oliver Bonk has
yeah.
looked really good.
I think he. And did you notice they're moving him up front on the power play?
Oh, put him in the pony position right in the middle there, right?
Absolutely.
Like that is fabulous. Put him on the
That's,
end of the
as a
swinging
Flyer
gate. Let him
fan,
go.
Right.
As a Flyer fan, I'm
With
very
that
impressed
size.
by both of
Oh.
those draft picks. That Lebchenko looks quite
Yeah.
good too.
Well, you know what we got to do is
looks
we
like a Brad Richards kind of a player.
We-
Keith
we-
Richards.
Keith Richards,
Keith Richards.
fellow guitarist. We got to get Casey Kenny to get us some inside scoops.
Yeah,
with
maybe
his
we'll have to-
press
yeah,
pass.
yeah.
Flashing his press pass, getting to the World Juniors,
Maybe we'll have to figure out how we get a phone call on this thing.
right?
I'll talk to Dylan this week, and we'll call Casey Kenny next Monday night.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just gonna call him up.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on the World Championships, Casey Kenny?
Right.
You're listening, Casey. You might get a phone call next Monday night. If I figure out how to get this phone hooked up, and I think I know how, you're getting a call, buddy.
Anything else with the juniors?
No, I'm just
or-
gonna say, let's go Canada tomorrow night.
Yeah.
If we get pounded out of that rink, if you don't like what you saw after losing to Latvia, just stay off social media
Right.
because they will get burned at the stake.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but
And I just hope the referee who's in charge lets them play the North American game because it's going to be a North American hard-hitting hockey game.
yeah,
I
it's
will
gonna be
say
good.
this though, before we roast them too much, they have had all that trouble scoring 5-on-5. To be clear, in 3 games,
Yeah.
Canada has yet to give up
Yep.
a 5-on-5 goal. Now they're playing a different animal tomorrow night,
Right.
but in
But
fairness
it's still
to
Carter
the team,
George and net.
It's Carter George in net, and the defense are very mobile, very good with the first pass collectively.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're missing Schaefer now, but they're still a very quick, very mobile, very good puck-moving defense. I'm concerned about the penalty kill. It's a little bit leaky, but you know what I mean? They still haven't given up a 5-on-5 goal in this tournament. So I just don't see, I'm not sure they'll win tomorrow night, but I just don't see any scenario where they get blown out.
Now, did anybody notice at the end of that Latvian game the chant coming from the fans?
No.
Pretty familiar chant in Ottawa. Fire Cameron.
Really?
Fire Cameron.
Wow.
So when Dave Cameron was the coach in Ottawa,
Wow.
you heard the
different.
Fire
I will say
Cameron
this,
chants.
It's one thing to be hiding behind your keyboard at home when you're half snap, bitching about something in the world.
Right.
It's another thing entirely. As someone who has spent $1,800 to go to a World Junior hockey tournament, and then I was the one who was in Buffalo and had to sit there and watch them implode in the third period against the Russians.
Against the Russians.
And you get a little hardwired.
Yeah.
You go, Jesus, I just invested. We spent $1,000 on fuel driving up to Buffalo 6 days in a row or whatever the hell it was. We spent so much money on the tickets and et cetera, et cetera. And then when they imploded, I'm like, oh man, this is like, and that's the funny part is I went home and watched it when they showed the replay. And there was me on TV walking out of there, and the look on my face, my God, it could have turned milk. I looked really, really angry, and I didn't think I was that angry, but I sure looked like I was.
Well, speaking of that tournament, Toby Francis, one of my coworkers, was there, and he had the long hair at the time, and he had bought the package like you did because like that's his baby, and he said, I don't know if I'm ever gonna experience this again in my lifetime. So he went, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to get a hotel room. So he stayed there all week, goes to rent a car. And because he had my lawnmower was worth more than the vehicle he was driving at the time. So he goes to rent a car. He says, I was just renting like a Camry, something basic. He said, the guy said they were out of them. And he goes, we got this BMW here, and he goes, I'll take it. So he drives to Buffalo in a BMW, and he was actually on TSN because he had the Canadian jersey, like he was done up. Yeah, no, he had the referee jersey. And TSN, when they went to commercials, because he was like 4 rows behind the opposing goalie's net, like it was the guys at work we were just killing ourselves laughing. But
it's
good on
never
him.
been, and I don't think it'll ever be like it was in Buffalo that year. And I want to say 2009.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Because, full disclosure, first things first, American dollar at par with the Canadian dollar at the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were going down there, and they were giving you whenever, like, when you go in to buy a beer. Okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Outside of the rink, there's a giant pavilion in behind. And the place is packed with somewhere close to 2,000 people, and I'm telling you, 98% of them are wearing red and white.
Right.
It became like Canada South.
Right.
And it was just a giant party for Canadians, by Canadians, even though it was the Americans putting the show on. And so they were giving back American money at par. So what we were doing was we were showing up with pocketfuls of $100 bills.
Right.
And we would order a beer and pull out $100. I'll never get my brother browbeating the young lady. Hands her $100 bill, and she starts handing it back Canadian. I don't want that shit. Yeah. Don't give me that shit back. I want American money. So we walked out of there with like $600-700 US at par, and just hung on to it when it wasn't at par anymore.
Right.
But other than the implosion in the third period, it was just absolute
great tournament,
joy
great
and
week.
fun. If you have never done a World Junior tournament,
Yeah.
you have to do it, and you have to do it in Canada. I still want to do one in Europe. I think it'd be really cool, but it's nothing.
But I think those crowds over in Europe sometimes are just wild.
They get wild, but they're a lot like smaller. But when
Passive.
you walk into a Buffalo arena,
Right.
playing whomever, it doesn't matter, and there are 18 or 19,000 screaming, drunken Canadian fans, and they aren't Leaf fans. They aren't Leaf fans. They are on their feet. They are yelling.
Right.
They are cheering. They are on time.
Yep.
They are in their seats when the puck is dropped. They don't want to miss a thing. And it was the most amazing experience I've had in a live venue in hockey in my entire
Amazing.
life. So
Amazing.
if you get a chance to go see a World Junior anywhere in Canada, spend the money. Do it, because it is the best trip you'll ever go on.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
All right. Everybody cheer on Canada tomorrow night. And
let's do a prediction before we get into the NHL. Les, what do you think the score is going to be tomorrow night?
4-3 Canada in overtime.
Okay. And Halser?
I'm going to say 5-3 U.S. with an empty netter.
Ooh. Wow. Taking the U.S. I'm going to say 3-2 Canada. No, I'm going to say 4-2 Canada with an empty netter. So write that down, Chester.
It'll be another New Year's Eve classic, which we haven't had for a couple of years.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
It's great when they're in the same division or pool and they get to play in. They're in Canada or the U.S. and they put them on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, the way it ought to be.
It's up against the NHL Winter Classic on the Friday night. I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They have it on the Friday. They have it on New Year's Eve. Usually it's the New Year's Day game, is it not?
Because generally speaking, south of the border, they don't give a good goddamn about the World Juniors.
Right.
It's from Wrigley Field, so, you know.
Yeah, because New Year's Day is more for football, like with
but it's always the Winter
stuff.
Classic's always been on New Year's Day. It's never. I don't know why it's on New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
I don't know either.
Maybe the weather.
Go figure.
Maybe the weather. They figure it's going to be colder at night.
Yeah.
But
not the biggest fan of those outdoor dealies, anyways.
It's lost its luster.
Yep.
It really has, right?
Yeah.
I think it's more for
now,
sponsors.
I have to say, when I went to the Big House to see it, that was wild.
Dude, that was like
it was
minus
freaking
30
cold.
out.
It was snowing.
Yeah.
My son's got frostbite on his feet. We go to the first aid tent. You know, I look at the guy and I say, do we have to leave and make a run for the border to get him to the hospital, or will he'll be okay? We'll just give him some hot packs.
Yeah.
Everybody around us giving him some hot packs for his feet. We drive back that night, get to Port Huron, and he's got his feet up on the dash, trying to keep them warm. And the guy goes, "Coming back from the game, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, frozen toes, aren't you?"
And it was snowing.
Continue
too.
on.
It was a crappy night. Yeah.
But it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We walked from the parking lot at the mall because they had the shuttle buses, but they were just full. So we walked there. And we had a great time walking with other people. They were just having a great time walking there, and it's, knee deep. We get there and we get in and get to our seats, and after the game we're sitting there. I go, "How are your feet?" He goes, "Oh, they really hurt." I said, "Well, you want to wait for a bus?" And he looks at he goes, "No, we're walking again." So we walked back to the mall to the parking lot and get in the car and head home. But it was
good, tough.
I'll never forget it. But I won't go out of my way to go to another one.
Right.
Unless it's somewhere
it's
warm.
an experience. But the problem is, like, I just don't see it's the same with an NFL football game. I don't see I drink beer. I don't drink whiskey a whole lot. So for me to drink an ice cold beer in minus 20, no, I'll sit in my sofa and watch it on the TV. Like
it's like, I don't know. Didn't they? It kind of reminds me. Didn't we have a World Junior outdoor game?
We did in Buffalo.
Yes.
It was in Buffalo.
In Buffalo.
The first time they went back.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's different. That's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just an NHL game.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
fair.
just 1 out of 82.
Yeah. It doesn't have the same mystique as it used to.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting. It's all about money.
It's a series now, right? It's an
Yeah.
outdoor series. Like,
Well, they have the Winter Classic, and the Americans have the Stadium Series now, and we have the Heritage Classic. I don't think there is one this year. I'm not sure.
There's
I'm not
half
sure.
There is a
dozen
game
of
this
them
year or
year
not,
now.
but
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
become a lot.
You got to take an idea and then just milk the crap out of it.
Yeah. Now, if we could get them to come and play on the Avon River, I'd go
Right.
watch that.
That would be
That's
interesting.
Horse of a different color, right?
Right.
Play the open water.
Build up some old wooden bleachers on the River Drive, north and south.
Yeah.
That would be entertaining.
Big
That'd be
old
good.
TV there.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
That'd be worth it.
We can make that happen. Where's Kastner? Tell Kastner.
Yeah.
we gotta make that happen. He's got the
Anybody
jam.
can make it happen. It's Johnny
Yeah,
Kastner.
Kastner
I saw
got the
his
jam.
post. He was out for beers and that
With
with
Rob
Thompson.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
gallery
so
thing.
they-
John, You got to bring them this way, buddy.
Yeah, it was the museum. I guess
it
it
was the
was
museum
a
prize,
fundraiser for Beer and Wings with Rob
Beer-
Thompson.
yeah, Beer and Wings with Thompson.
I saw Brian Shackleton and his 2 buddies were there, so
Yeah.
that's awesome. But
Too much for me to pay for.
yeah, I don't know what it would have cost.
If I'm
but
having beers and drinks with Rob Thompson, it's because he's in the same bar as I am.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm with him.
I've through Quincy and Marshall Wilker,
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of having beers with him a couple of times. Just an absolute gentleman.
Yeah.
Like asks how you're doing, right? Like he's interested in what your life
Yeah.
is going on.
Yeah, he
and-
came in. He came into Boston Pizza one night years ago when juniors were
Yeah.
on, and we're sitting there, and he walked by. He talked to everybody.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, he's just a great guy. The whole family, like the Wilkers and
Reminds me of
Yeah.
God bless his soul, Walter Gretzky. Remember that, Hop? We were down at Wayne Gretzky's in Toronto for that playoff game. We're sitting at the bar, and Walter walks in, and he comes right over and starts talking to us. It's like, how are you guys doing?
What a beauty.
What are you guys doing? When are you leaving? Let me know.
And,
He had all the time in the world for every table.
and that wasn't the last time I ran into him.
Yeah.
I ran into
him in Stratford.
I ran into him in a diner in Milton.
jeez.
It's just really, it's called Troy's Diner, and it's got this really cool, it's all Coke products, the entire place just decorating Coke products. And over in the corner here, it's Walter Gretzky's table. And I'm like, Troy, how
do I get my name on a table?
well, no, I didn't get there. I just said, well, kind of explain that because it just seems really obscure to be downtown Milton. Like if you were in Brantford, I could see Walter coming regularly for
Yeah.
breakfast. But he just walked in one day out of the blue, thought it was cool, thought the place was cool because, like I said, it was all literally decorated head to toe, stem to stern, in Coke products. And he just thought it was cool, walked in, ate breakfast, so we dedicated the table to him.
Well,
Well, that's what you do when royalty walks in.
Right.
It's the king's table.
Yeah, the father of hockey.
speaking of kings, one guy is trying to overtake the king. Alexander Ovechkin is back playing. He's got 46 games left to get 25 goals. What, Gretzky's not the king? It's the goal scoring
No,
king.
you're just depressing me. I was in a good mood, and he's going to break the record, and I just don't have it in me to stop him.
Yeah, it's
I wanna stop
unfortunate.
him,
Well, I
but I
want to
can't
see. Hey, I'm a 99 fan, as you can tell. with
If
this
if Wayne
jersey
Gretzky's
on.
okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's
What is
just
Wayne
what a
Gretzky
classy.
going to say? Ovechkin's a piece of shit. I don't want him breaking my record.
Well,
Well,
you
did
never
He
know.
said
Some
that.
people
He's
might.
Wayne. He put,
But you know what?
Wayne is the classiest guy. We just talked about a big reason why
Yeah.
Wayne is the classiest guy in the history of sports.
Yeah.
But how
and
about
of course he's going to say, "Oh, you know what? It's okay." It's
Well,
like you know.
he
But-
just
but
said
take a-
records are meant to be broken.
take a look at
Yeah,
the
but-
difference? Okay, so you've got
him.
Gretzky, the GOAT, and you've got Ovechkin trying to break his goal scoring record. You look at the way Gretzky's reacting to that. Ovechkin, he's playing in an era where it's harder to score goals, blah, 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 singing all the accolades. Then you've got Eric Dickerson, who's the all-time rushing leader in a single season, who's publicly saying Saquon Barkley's got one game left to beat his record, and he's saying, I don't think he's going to do it. Like, he's just such a jackass. The difference
and- He's
in
a football player.
personalities, right?
Well, the difference too is that Dickerson broke OJ's record.
With one extra game. Two extra games.
OJ did it in 14. Dickerson did it in 16.
16.
And now Saquon's going to break his
In
record in
17. Yeah.
And I hope he does.
Yeah, exactly.
But which seems contradictory for me talking like I am. It's just I never liked Ovechkin.
Yeah, and I've never
I'm
been
not gonna
a
pretend to like him now. I give him all respect in the fact that he's one of, if not the greatest shooter of the hockey puck in the history of the sport.
Yep.
But
I
he's
agree.
Still a shit hockey player.
When you look at the goal, and hey, folks, I'm a 99 fan, okay? But Ovechkin, to do what he is doing, Gretzky has even said it, the goalies are better, bigger.
Wow.
Like,
They're all 6'8".
It's so hard to score. So for him to do that in this era, I think is actually harder than what 99 had to do.
I want somebody to break it down in where he scored his goals from. And I want you to
that would-
tell me how many goals he scored outside of the face-off circle.
Yeah, right?
Somebody's got to get at Chester.
Well,
At the end of the day, though, to compare those two
yeah.
is, it just, you can't even mention Ovechkin in the same breath as Wayne Gretzky because, fun fact, he had twice as many assists as he has goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got more assists than anybody in the history of the league has points.
Yeah.
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 That's the scary
and
thing.
For him to have a record like this, like I said, it's going to happen.
It is.
Do
And
about it.
I honestly did not think that there was a chance that it wouldn't happen because, like, Ovechkin, he got off to that slow start and then he just went gangbusters. Like, before he broke his leg or fractured it, he was like gangbusters. But his 869 goals are 267 goals more than anyone who has played during his era. Crosby's second at 602 goals. Stamkos and Malkin are the only others within 300 goals of Ovechkin's total. Like, it's mind-boggling, like, what he's done. He has distanced himself so much from other guys. And Gretzky's career, he finished 186 goals ahead of Mike Gartner, 281 goals ahead of Lemieux. Now, Lemieux was hurt, but so was Gretzky for a year. 284 goals ahead of Mark Messier. But one guy that people don't talk about a whole lot that I stumbled across and I went, shit, I forgot about him. In his 10 years, and he ended up retiring after only 10 years, Mike Bossy had years of 53.
Do you know why people don't remember him? Because he played in New York Islanders.
Well, and he retired when he was 30.
Yeah. It's insanity. Now, he retired
And he
because
did
of his
50
back.
and 50.
He was the first one to do, or second one. Rocket was the first.
Rocket retired 50 and
then,
50.
Then,
Bossy.
and then Gretzky was 50 and 39.
39.
But listen to these 10 years. 53, 69, 51, 68, 64, 60, 51, 58, 61, and then his last year he was 38 because he had the bad
Mike
back.
Bossy was great.
Unreal.
Yeah.
573 goals in 752 games.
Probably almost exactly the same amount of assists.
He played.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And he played on some pretty good teams there, though.
553.
Four
Cup
straight Stanley
winners,
Cups.
yeah.
So
you know,
when
the
he-
only goalie that would ever go to the dressing room to get a beer before he went and shook hands.
So
Billy
it was
Smith.
funny story. Dave Anderson, who's one of the greatest hockey players in this area all time, had a full scholarship to Bowling Green, won a national championship with Jerry York at Bowling Green, gets drafted by the Islanders just as they were, starting to make their run. So Dave goes to training camp in 1980. And he's looking around and he's going, okay, I'm a right winger. And I got a guy named Bossy and another guy named Sutter.
Yeah.
I don't want to ride the Iron Lung. And so Quincy Wilker always tells the funny story. He says, Dave Anderson goes, you know what? I think I'm just going to go home and work at Domtar. Or he works at a wood chip place in, it's not Domtar. It escapes me, but he's done very well financially for himself. But it was just funny hearing Q tell the story. But yeah, he's like, I am not going to be taking Bossy or Sutter's roles on the right side. They don't need a third line goal scorer. But when Bossy retired, he held the record for the most goals per season average with 57.3. Like, that's insanity.
And like I said, he retired early. He was 30.
Yes.
If my memory
He was
serves.
only 30, and so I look at a guy everyone can compare him to, like, not eras, but Austin Matthews has played 9 seasons. He's had years of 40, 34, 37, 47, 41, 60, 40, 69, and now 11 with his injuries. So he's averaged 42.1 per season.
So speaking of Austin Matthews, there's an interesting little report that came out today. If Matthews is still hurt in 2 weeks, do they replace him
I say yes.
on the American roster? Do you think, as
I
a
do
Toronto
not.
Maple Leaf organization, if he's still hurt in 2 weeks, you're going to let him go play?
Not a chance. Not a
When does the tournament
chance.
February, middle of February.
Yeah. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Well, we talked about this last week, and like I said, I've made my stance pretty clear. It's time to put him on the shelf.
Yeah.
For long term, because nobody gives a shit how many goals Matthews gets in the regular season.
Right.
Because
They need him to perform in the playoffs, which means he needs to be healthy.
Yep.
And if I am Trey Living, I am already whispering in the ear of Austin Matthews saying, now, keeping in mind, Austin, this is an exhibition tournament. This isn't the Olympics.
Right.
This isn't the World Cup. This is just 4 countries making some money for the
Players Association.
I'm of the opinion that you probably should not go.
100%.
You know
because
what I mean?
the team would have the last say.
Yeah.
And having said that, I think that Matthews has earned the right to say, you know what, I'm 100% going.
Yeah.
But I just don't think the tournament is near important enough.
I agree.
No,
For him
because
to
not
go.
in the big picture.
Not in the big picture. He's never
Not
won a
even in
cup.
the medium picture. It's
Yeah.
just an exhibition tournament.
Like,
And
he's
I would
not
just
going to
say
come
that.
out and say it, but he doesn't give 2 shits about the Four Nations Cup. He wants to win a Stanley Cup in June,
Yeah.
right? So,
I think if it was the Olympics, it might be a different
And
story.
outside
Probably.
of Canada, who does?
fair.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
The
outside of Canada,
The Americans.
Like,
Without the Russians being there,
Russians
it's
aren't
there isn't the excitement. Like, you don't have Ovi, you don't have Shesterkin, you don't have, like, all
Right,
these
I mean,
guys.
the
Kiprusoff.
Russians could put a roster together that is just as good as Canada's or
Yeah.
the US's, but they're not there for
Exactly.
political reasons.
Right.
And I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, like, I personally don't care about this tournament.
Like, I'm gonna watch it, but it
Well,
doesn't
sure,
have
I
the
mean-
same allure. Like, if there's something else better, like if there's a football game on or
But
something, I
mean,
would watch
we
that.
watch the
I'm
other
gonna watch. I'm
wrestlers as
gonna
well
watch
because-
it because I want to see McDavid and Crosby play together.
Sure, like
Right?
I said,
That would
there's-
be cool.
I want to see Canada's power play.
Yeah.
Come on, you're gonna put the 5 best players in the world out on the ice. I
Like,
still
can't-
think. I still think I want to see the American power play with a healthy Austin Matthews.
Like, the
They're pretty
Czechs aren't
deadly.
even there, right? Like, it's a tainted tournament.
It's a
Like,
top
it's
4 tournament. And
it's unfortunate because, like, we all were spoiled with the Canada Cup in '81 and
Well, we're
all
not
of
spoiled. It's
those.
been so long since we've had best on best,
right.
and that's what everybody earns for is the best on best. You wanted to see McDavid play with Crosby, so you can have that sort of passing of the C, right? The captain,
It's like
'cause it sits-
Gretzky Lemieux.
the Team Canada is they're doing a horrible job of this promoting this tournament because just tell everybody Sidney Crosby's your captain and get on with it because it's his team.
For sure.
Like, I think if they came to McDavid and said we're giving you the C, he's gonna go like heck, I'm putting it on. You know, you'd get crucified for it because
Yeah.
it's Sidney Crosby's team. It's his team.
100%. It'd be different if Crosby was only there because of courtesy, but he's still
put up points.
He's putting the points up. Statistically, he deserves to be there. And until Sid says that I'm not, wanting to play anymore, I agree with you.
He's the
I think
captain of the
it's-
team.
It is his team.
You want to see them pass the torch because
Yeah.
you always want to see the guys leaving pass the torch to the younger players. We really didn't get it with Gretzky there in Italy. Or Nagano.
right.
Nagano. Was
we
it
didn't.
Nagano or Turin when he was sitting on the
Turin.
bench? Turin when he's sitting on the bench for the shootout.
Yeah, I was in Nagano.
We won't talk
Yeah.
about Mark Crawford. And
Oh my
that
god.
horse crap
Let's get Ray
decision, but-
Bork, right? Not Gretzky.
all I remember is
Yeah.
I stayed up till 5 in the
I
morning
know.
to watch this.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, Gretzky's still sitting on the bench.
Speaking
What
of
am I
Crosby, Crosby notched his 1,034th assist to pass Mario Lemieux as the Pens' all-time assist leader. Crosby did it in 1,310 games. Lemieux did it in 915 games.
could you imagine where-
400 games less?
Could you imagine where he would have done that if he had been healthy
Just
his whole
it
career?
was ridiculous.
Well, could you imagine
Yeah.
the points Lemieux would have put up if he would have been
Oh,
healthy
that's
his
what
whole
I mean.
career?
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Lemieux, to be honest.
I
with
did
Both
too.
of them, both
Yeah.
of them, honestly.
you.
Yeah. Lemieux still holds the franchise records for goals, 690, and points, 1,223. Crosby trails Lemieux by 88 goals and 87 points, and he just signed a new 2-year deal like a few months ago that kicks in. So I think that's probably his last hurrah.
That's his last contract.
His last contract. It's going to get him, to within striking distance, if not the records, and then he rides off into the sunset.
Well, yeah, he'll be 40 by then.
and it brings him to the Olympics.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That was
Yeah, the
another
Olympic.
thing. It brought him to an Olympic year.
Yeah, the Olympic year could be his last thing. One other thing that I was shocked to read, because it happened quietly, Rod Brindamore, who's been coaching for 7 years, fastest bench boss in league history to reach 300 wins.
And what a testament to his.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's coaching the 1970s Montreal Canadiens loaded with Hall of Famers. He's coaching Carolina.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Carolina is always good.
Yep. He's able to squeeze every ounce of juice out of his players.
Carolina's also their own worst enemy sometimes.
Well, because they don't pay for a goalie.
Well, that's all they're short is a goalie,
Right?
right?
They're short a
Carolina
goalie.
had a top 5 goaltender,
Yep.
they'd have at least one, probably 2 cups.
They've made the playoffs every year he has coached, as they missed the playoffs 9 straight years before he became head coach. Bruce Boudreau used to hold the mark for nearly 11 years. It took Boudreau, though, 496 games. But, yeah, I was shocked. I did not realize that Rod the Bod had won so many games so quickly. So
I'm such a huge fan.
Kudos
I
to
loved him
him.
as a Flyer back in the 90s.
Speaking of the Flyers, your rookie there got fined today.
for
Fine.
what?
He got fined for his elbow on Quentin Byfield the other day.
He,
It was a flagrant elbow.
Mitchkoff
Cost him $2,400.
He's a wonderful talent, but he's got some Ovechkin flu going on too. That boy's got to learn how to play some defense.
Yeah, it was interesting. And Pat Maroon got fined as well today.
Torts keeps benching him, and he keeps not getting the message.
I don't speak English.
Oh man! And I just, you know what? Razor's all about the stats, and so I'm going to throw one back at him as Ovechkin reaches Wayne. Okay, so all the goals, whatever. Almost 1,600 points, Ovechkin. Plus 61. Plus 61.
Yeah.
He's got 1,600 points in the league. He's a plus 61. Are you shitting me?
What is Gretzky? I don't even know what Gretzky
Plus
is.
540.
Really?
Okay? So, in other words, 9 times the plus minus. All right?
You gotta love it. You gotta love some of the stuff we come up with.
Do you know
we
what?
had
I never knew that. 73 shorthanded goals for Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a testament to the kind of player Ovechkin is, he's got 5.
Wow.
Yeah, he's plus
And I'm
500
shocked.
something. Yeah.
You put him out there 5 times with the penalty?
Well, they ended up changing the rule because of
They changed
the
the 4-on-4
Oilers.
rule, yep.
Yeah, because when
Him
there
and-
was coincidentals, they'd go down to 4-on-4,
Yeah,
and
it'd
it
be
became
him-
an
it was
advantage
him
to the
and Curry
Oilers.
and Coffey out
Right.
there, and they just went,
And
"Wait
the
a
other
minute."
teams are
Well,
going.
they were
"Nah."
one of the teams that used to put 4 forwards out there too, because
Yeah.
Well,
the other
3
team
and
could get the
Coffey.
puck away from him.
3 and Coffee.
Yeah. Well, Coffey was more of a forward than he was a defenseman.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
You know, it's funny. We have
Best
a
skater of his era, though.
we have a group text today, and what we're going to do on the show. And Brian's text said Blue Jays. I said, who the hell wants to talk about the Blue Jays? All they do is say, "Oh, we're going to get this guy," and then do fuck all.
I just felt like bitching about him. in
Sorry for the
public.
language, but
Well, you know
Oh.
what? It's
it's frustrating. You're in the running for this guy. Oh wait, no, I'm going to go sign.
You know what the
back
motto-
with the Dodgers for $45 million.
I'll tell you what the motto of the Jays offseason is. In 3 words. Jays are interested.
all they do,
Jays are
and the
interested.
agents love the Jays. They go, you know what? Let's get Shapiro to
Call up Shapiro. Tell him.
Let's get
We're
them,
interested in coming.
Let's
Yep.
get. We'll start talking to the press, pretending that we're interested in going to Toronto, and then we'll get the Mets or the Dodgers or the
Yep.
Yankees
And then
to
Toronto
up their
go out
offers.
And offer some ridiculous sum of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Let's just leak it to the Toronto media because they won't say
We're not-
anything.
We're not really happy with the offers we're getting. Let's call Toronto. Get
But
us-
here's the hilarious thing is they could have gotten Guerrero signed for like probably 350, 370, which they didn't want to pay him last year. He did the right thing. He didn't sign a contract with Toronto. Waited to see how Soto reset the market. So the 2 years, back-to-back years, Toronto's gone after guys, waving $700 million. Now Guerrero No, he holds all the cards. I think the bidding starts at $500 million.
If I could speak his language, it would be, "Where's my money?"
Right, and that's what he's going to say.
What have you been doing with your time to not lock up your horse?
Right.
What have you been doing? All you had to do 2 years ago.
Right.
2 years ago. What did you do 2 years ago? You took him to arbitration over $2 million.
Yeah.
$2 million frickin' dollars. How much is $2 million in the major leagues? I think I got $2 million major league dollars in my pocket. Oh no, that's lint. That's only.
I think that's a night in the Corona deck.
Yeah.
With beers and hot dogs.
Yeah. What do you do with your horse? You take him to arbitration over $2 million effing dollars.
This last place team in the American League East has done absolutely nothing to improve.
Yeah.
So
he's got him over.
And keep in mind, they did not only they got Jimenez, which is a huge upgrade at second base.
Yeah, but that's not.
But he can't hit.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
Not that he can't hit.
He doesn't want to.
They need hitting.
Yes.
Okay. So who did they chase next in that lineup where nobody can hit? Who do they chase next? Let's go after Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are so stupid. His wife is from Arizona, and they have young twins. Do you think he's going to pick his young twins and his Arizona wife out of Arizona and take them up to Canada? God, are you stupid, you people? How could you be that? How can you find work every day and be that stupid?
Well, it's not as stupid. It's going to be interesting with my Yankees. They've got Cody Bellinger signed. His wife is Stanton's ex-girlfriend.
I saw that one. I said, "That's great for the clubhouse,
right?
guys."
That is going to be entertaining.
You could just picture them walking in the room and Stanton's going, "Yeah, I get that."
I saw her.
Welcome to the team. But they went out. I won't say I'm a big fan of the Goldschmidt signing, but at least he can play better defense than Rizzo.
They signed him for 1 year.
Forgot how to play defense.
He was hurt too.
but you can still not play.
I agree. I loved Rizzo when he was with the Cubs, and then he just fell apart with the Yankees.
Like if you're not going to hit, it's like a Don Cherry line. If you're not going to score, hit, fight, or do something. So I mean, I watched him not. Like, he totally screwed up that World Series game.
Oh, yeah.
Those balls going down the first baseman. Holy mackerel.
Well, it was him and the pitcher. The pitcher was walking in the dugout thinking Rizzo was close enough to make the out, and Rizzo was nowhere near able to run to the base in time. So
I tell you what, I had a kid when I was helping Bill Mattiche with the IBL Panthers. I had a kid at first base named Liam Wilson, and this guy is a perennial MVP candidate offensively, but defensively he's gone the last 2 seasons without making a single error.
Oh, wow.
Which means everything that was thrown over his way bounced into he picked it. He picked everything.
Just like a vacuum.
Everything hit to him, he picked it.
Yeah.
And I just, in all my years of baseball, it never occurred to me how important a solid defensive first baseman is.
Right.
And I remember anybody who's seen Moneyball, remembers, Ron Washington joking about, first base is the moon to this kid when they're talking about Hatteberg, right?
Yeah.
It's and they're sitting in Hatteberg's house going, "It's not that hard, is it, Washington? It's incredibly hard to play first base."
Just ask Bill Buckner.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just never knew, it never dawned on me how important, how a first baseman that is good defensively brings up everybody else in your infield.
Well, they signed Goldschmidt.
The Yankees sure learned the hard way in the World Series, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah.
They signed Goldschmidt to 1 year, knowing that Vladdy is unrestricted after this year. So
they'll throw him 600.
100%, and he knows it.
Thinking about it.
So he's
How
now.
many home runs is that cat going to hit in Yankee Stadium?
He's
All he's
now
got to do is look for something up and out, and
right?
pop it up, and it's gone.
So he's now being able to hold that over Toronto's head because
He's
they don't care.
He's already gone.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
trade him today. Vladdy is gone.
Like they already don't like. Bichette wants to go. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But Guerrero, he's the only star. He's the only player that people come to see. You aren't going there to see Springer anymore. His best years are gone. The girls loved looking at Kiermaier. Okay, he's going to be a coach there now. But there's no one bringing you to watch the Toronto Blue Jays other than Guerrero.
I think Toronto's want ad for their bullpen is if you can walk, talk, and throw a baseball.
Pretty much.
Come on out.
Pretty much.
And I'm trying not to be a complete doomsayer, but I will say this. There are exactly two, count them, 2 ball players under contract to the Toronto Blue Jays past 2026. And one is Barrios, who has an opt-out clause.
Yep.
Geez, I wonder if he's going to exercise that.
He's gone.
Right?
And at the end of this year is Bassett. At the end of next year is Gossman.
Yep.
And
I like Gossman.
Well, how could you not like Gossman?
He's a good guy. He had a tough year.
He's a horse.
I heard a guy's
Doc Light. That's what I call him. I call him Doc Light because he's got that pitch that sinks. He keeps the ball low. He gets a lot of ground balls. He probably strikes out more than Doc did. Having said that, there's nothing. The cupboard is bare.
Yeah, it is.
I heard a guy say, he said, I don't understand why people won't come to Toronto. Their window to win is open. And I'm sitting there going, they goddamn bricked it up.
To win.
Yeah.
There is no window to win. They're not going to win anything.
Did you watch the Yankees? Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, has already won Executive of the Year. They lost a generational player.
Awesome.
And what did they do? They got
Signed
a new center
pitcher.
fielder.
Yeah.
They got a new starting pitcher.
Yeah.
They got a new first baseman. And they got a new closer who might be the best in baseball.
Yeah.
Who has, if he's not the best baseball, he's got the best changeup in all of baseball.
So I love it. I love it that they missed out on Soto because he can't play in the field. I think you said it. He's going to be a
not
D.
me.
Somebody said he's going to be a DH in 3 years.
He's got a hose, dude. He's got a rocket for.
But he's
There's
skeptical
nothing wrong
there
with his
defensively. He's
But now that he's gone, you put Bellinger in center.
Yes.
You move Judge over to right where you'd rather
He
have
wants
a guy.
to be.
You don't want your best hitter out in center field beating his body up.
yes.
I would have already moved him to first personally. If I were in charge, before I signed Goldschmidt, I would have gone after an outfielder and really worked on Judge to come to first base because I want him. How many games has he missed the last 3 years? He misses a lot of time.
Yeah.
And part of that is because he's out in center field, beating his body up. But now they've got Bellinger to play center. They moved Judge over to the corner, which is fine.
Yeah.
They signed a really solid defensive first baseman. I don't know what he's got left offensively in Goldschmidt. And they need a third baseman.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're set. They've lost the team that went to the World Series lost a generational player, and they are still the best team in their division
I love
by a mile.
Yeah.
And that's even with the additions of Red Sox.
Agreed.
Chris Chessel told you to unleash the Jays' fury.
I am so
It was just a
disgusted.
question I wanted answered. Boy, did we go somewhere.
I was
Woo!
just disgusted.
Oh.
I don't understand how they still have a job. My family talked about this at our family Christmas, and we are all convinced that Shapiro has negatives of someone in the Rogers organization.
Yes.
Doing
Nude
something
pictures.
untowards with a
Yes.
goat.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that son of a bitch can still have a
Oh,
job,
man.
man. I am absolutely disgusted.
You know what?
They took this organization that was ready to roll, that had some of the best starting pitching, had a loaded bullpen, and all they had to do was get some hitting in, and they have not gotten anybody in that can hit.
But the problem
Give
is
me one guy that they have brought in that can frickin' hit.
Do you know
Not
what he's done?
one.
Don
Like in-
Mattingly. Oh,
He
wait,
can't
he doesn't
hit.
play
Now he's
anymore.
fit. He can't hit. He's 60.
You know what though? In to his defense, because I can't stand Shapiro either, but dollars and cents wise, he's made Ted Rogers a lot of money.
It's not Shapiro I can't stand. It's Ross Atkins. I
Well,
can't
it's
stand.
both of them.
I
He
don't-
protects Atkins.
I
So-
don't have anything to say about Atkins because he is a puppet.
Yeah.
Atkins
100%.
does and says everything what the boss says to say.
And that's why Shapiro keeps him there, because
Rogers
he's
likes
able to do
Shapiro.
whatever he
At the
wants.
same time, though, this gambit that they did with the ballpark, they spent $500 million.
Yep.
And now, who's going to come watch this?
Well, because the thing is if they did have a winning team or a competitive team, they feel like last year, not this past season, but the season before when they had half the renovations done, like the outfield renovations, That place was packed a lot of nights.
It's cool out there.
You're right.
It's super, especially like maybe not cool
And-
for us.
and great
but
marketing.
If I live in Toronto and I'm in my 20s,
$20
what
tickets.
A great eat and meet
Right.
place.
You spend $20. You go and
go.
sit at the 4 new bars that 2 in the upper bowl and 2 in the lower, and they would make their money off of the food and alcohol that they would sell them. But let's get the teenagers and the 20-somethings to come here for $20. Like the couple of games that I went to, it was packed.
Yeah, and a lot of those people, and this is the thing, is that I am watching these people, whether it was on TV or when I was in the building. The majority of these people have no idea what the score is.
Yeah. Right. And they don't care
They don't care.
because they're spending money.
I'm in a bar.
Well, now
I'm
that
in a
they've
cool
got
place,
the
and it is. It's a
like
cool
last
place.
year they did the underside underneath the stands,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got like a caviar bar, like they've got the bougie
Mm-hmm.
like Scotiabank
Oh, yeah.
Leaf bar, but
Well-
then they've got a blue collar bar too. So but you can actually watch in the blue collar bar. You can watch guys pitching and warming up pitching or batting. Where they're warming up, taking BP and stuff underneath the stands. They've got like glass where you can watch that.
And the problem is, Rogers owns the majority stake in every major league team now in Toronto.
Right.
And they've announced major renovations to Scotiabank Arena this
Right.
summer.
Yeah.
So you know where they're going with that.
100. 100.
Yeah.
The thing that sucks
Which
for
it
me
needs
is-
it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a 25-year-old
They,
building.
they got to get rid of those seats that you can't see the whole rink.
Unbelievable.
They'll figure it out.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the what do they call them? The
Partially obstructed.
partially obstructed
Yeah.
viewing seats. Like
Crazy.
Fenway.
Yeah.
There's a great big I-beam
Yeah,
in front
yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
The
It's
thing
not as
that
bad as
sucks,
Utah,
it
but it's bad.
It
Right.
just brings me back. When I lived in Milton, we had seasons tickets. We were 1/4 owners of seasons tickets. And so, we had 20 games a year that were ours every year. And how long do we have them for? I want to say 5 years. So between my brother and my father and I, we would split up the games. And, sometimes we would pick up a couple extras, or it was only 2, so sometimes I would grab 2 tickets so I could take both my boys to the game.
Right.
So I was seeing somewhere between 12 and 15 games per season, and this is early noughties.
Gilmore,
Like who was
Wendell.
Doc was in his prime then, and I was, that was all we had. But at the end of the day, I went and watched all the. We had it was a little later.
Oh, you're talking
Jay-
Jays.
he had Jays
Jays.
tickets, yeah.
Sorry, I think
We
we
had
were
seen-
talking Leafs. Okay.
Why would I?
Why would a Flyers fan have
I got a
that?
brain fart
directly into
there.
the camera and go, Razor just asked me if I had Leaf season tickets.
And Razor's drinking water tonight, folks.
Right?
Now,
Exactly.
what
all
is that?
good. It's all
what,
good.
Miller
what was
Lights.
that Terry Uniac line? Are you high?
No, Real Side Organics is not here.
Yeah, but you had the treat bag when you left the arena the other night.
Oh man.
Well, I might have had somebody text me and say, "Hey, I heard there's a treat bag there. Can you grab me one?"
So, anyhow,
That's hilarious.
so and I think it was a little later. I think it was maybe like 2009, 2010.
Yeah, I think it was
until about
2000,
14,
yep.
Because I do remember the very first year that I didn't own season tickets was the year they made the playoffs.
Right.
So I guess it was me.
Yep. It's all Brian.
Pretty
But in
much.
5 seasons, I saw no less than 50 games. I can't tell you exactly how many, but I saw no less than 50 games. Do you know how many games I watched that mattered?
Nah.
0.
yeah.
Not a single game that I ever watched while a season's ticket holder mattered. I saw cool stuff. I saw Verlander's no-hitter. I saw Doc Holliday. We always called it get home early night whenever Doc was pitching, because I'd be home back in Milton by 9:30. I watched Omar Vizquel's last game. That's it, dude. That's it.
Yeah.
And the only time I ever got excited was when teams were coming in. Vladdy Guerrero Sr.,
Right.
one of my favorite ball
Right.
players of all time. Every time the Angels were coming, I would grab all the Angels tickets so I could see Vladdy Sr. But it's going back to a time now where you're going to have people going to watch games. Fathers will still take their families to the ball games. 20-somethings will still go hang out at the bar, and they won't see a single ball game that matters.
Yeah.
And that is just such a lost opportunity considering where we were 3 years ago when everybody was talking about this team on the rise, and they have systematically torn it down and buggered it all.
Well, once again, they can't evaluate talent. They can't draft. They can't evaluate. The only thing that they have done is they've been able to go out and acquire starting pitching. Like, they didn't draft Barrios, Gossman. They had to pay for it, but I give them credit. That's all that they have done. They cannot evaluate talent.
You can't complain about the payroll.
Right.
The payroll was in the top 10 last year. I think they were 8th highest payroll. They were they were concerned about picking up another guy and getting into the CBT and paying the
luxury tax. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, now what are they? What are they?
They're nothing.
The Toronto Blue
They're
Jays,
at the bottom of the American League East.
Irrelevant now.
Absolutely.
They will be our whipping boys like the Winnipeg Jets seem
And
to
I
be.
don't even want to whip them because it's too late now. The horse has already left the barn.
All right, we better thank
gotta
some sponsors and take a quick break because I thought that would be a quick conversation, but Brian blew up.
All right.
Love you, Halser.
SBS Metals, metal fabrication with professional craftsmanship. Stratford's preferred custom commercial and residential metal fabricator. SBS Metals.
Oh, and also there we got Domino's Pizza, official pizza, the Armchair Chirpers. Get your free large 3-item pizza if you go out and subscribe to our YouTube page. Take a screenshot, bring it in to Reboot Repair if they have any coupons left. I'm not sure. 2 locations, 406 Ontario Street, 536 Huron Street. And you can also get Domino's Pizza free pizzas at the Irish game if they score 6 goals. Small pizzas.
Like they did Friday night. Joe's Diner, official breakfast lunch diner of the Armchair Chirpers, home of the world-famous number 4 Perth County breakfast. Locally owned and operated by the Myers family, located in Stratford and St. Mary's.
And of course, Jeff Burrow, who's on vacation, the Urban Barber, established in 2019 for all your classic cuts, tapers, grooming, shaping, details, beards, everything. Jeff, Ron, and Jonathan, 3 barbers. They'll give you whatever you need over there. Go see them, except for the hot shave.
That's right. No more.
No more.
No more for you.
No more. No more hot shave for you.
I'm having a tough day as it is, man. No more hot shaves.
Janet Lange, Home and Company, the real in real estate. She's the official realtor of Armchair Chirpers. Janet Lange, Home and Company.
Brighter Visions, providing compassionate and effective counseling services to individuals and families in need. I'm telling you, folks, if you think you're having some problems or anything, you need to talk to somebody, contact our DMs. They're always open. We'll get you in touch with somebody you need to talk to. But if you really would just want to go ahead, contact Brighter Visions. They'll make sure you get the help you need.
Absolutely. And Bentley's Bar, Inn, and Restaurant, the official bar and restaurant of the Armchair Chirpers. 20 draft beers on tap, daily food specials, fabulous place to spend the night in their lofts or executive suite. Locally owned and operated by the Bentley family.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Enjoy a little break, and we'll see if we can get Holly tamed down over here.
Always gets my shit confused. stumble on, all alone with DMVs. Where are you gone? On repeat in my dome, so blue. She's got me beat, she's got me broken, right down to my soul. She's got me beat, she's got me broken, right down to my soul.
Look at that. A nice quick break. You had time to go to the washroom if you needed to. Maybe grab a beer if you wanted to.
Right?
All right, we're back. We're getting right into it. 20 games left in the GOJHL season. Stratford Warriors are back on the ice tonight for practice. Tonight and Thursday, I was talking to Clark yesterday. I was thinking about getting Cole Lewis in here tonight, but I thought they were off again. He said, nope, too important of a weekend coming up to take another day off. Right back at it as they play London on Friday night and then to Listowel on Sunday. And
2 big games.
two big, well, every game's big from now on.
Technically, it's 2 big weeks for them.
2 big weeks because then you get into the St. Mary's series and
Right.
that coming up too, and
And that's on the Friday night in St.
Saturday.
Mary.
Saturday night in St.
Okay.
Mary's.
Yeah, so listen, whether you're a fan of the Lynx or a fan of the Warriors,
Or are you just a fan of junior hockey,
or if you're a fan of hockey in general,
or you want to win a big 50-50 prize.
yeah, because the 50-50 is probably going to be.
It'll be $2,000.
I was going to.
That's what it was last time.
$1,500.
Yeah.
But it's the dinner. It's the chicken dinner going on in
Right.
the PRC.
Yes.
I don't know when it starts. Is it
It's
5 or
at
5:30?
5 o'clock, I think it starts. I have a flyer on
Go
my
up
desk.
to the
And
PRC.
is that is that the upper lobby? Or?
No, it's
in
PRC
the
right across the
community
hallway.
center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Before you go
in
into the
there
rink.
early, get yourself a nice chicken dinner, and then pop
Joe's
over to
Diner, chicken
PRC.
dinner.
Yep.
Sponsored by Joe's Diner.
Speaking
Shout
of
out
which,
to
I wish
them.
they'd bring back Mr. Crispy's chicken.
Well, we'll put in that request. I
Yeah.
talk to Blaine regularly on the speed dial.
Yeah.
And anyways, then after that, go right next door, grab yourself a fitty because it's going to be worth so much money, and then you'll see win, lose or draw. It doesn't matter who's going to win that game. That's going to be one hell of
It'll
a
be a
hockey.
great
Yep,
game.
it'll be.
Yeah.
I'll have Brian back with us again on air. You never know who will pick up in the intermissions. We might get Spencer going again. See if we can get them all wound up. And 519 Sports is going to be there because they're.
That's a spotlight game, isn't it?
I think so. I'm not sure exactly. I think it is, but it's a spotlight game no matter what. It is. Brandon Back said he's putting his name in for that. He hasn't seen one yet this year because he's been doing other Listowel games because that's where he's from, right? And
Right.
Elmira and that because it's closer to home. But he said he wants to see Stratford and St. Mary's because he's heard so much about it.
Oh,
I said,
yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
last one was worth the price of admission when Stratford came back there in the third, and it was great.
That last one would be right up there with the game of the first half.
Well, I guess the only thing I'd
For
say was-
Stratford?
well, no. All I'm saying is I didn't think that the first 2 periods were that
Right,
entertaining.
you're right. You're right.
No, it was.
It was one of the third periods of this. I think just for historical accuracy, I think it was probably one of the best third periods of the season for Stratford.
Right.
I think if
Fair.
St. Mary's are being honest with themselves, they let one slip away there.
100.
When you've given up 47 goals in 30 games
Yeah.
and you're up 2-0 in the third, you expect to win. And so when they blow a lead like that and not even make it to overtime and get a single point,
Right.
then clearly that's stuff that you got to clear up.
I'm gonna say it's been the series of the first half.
It's been fantastic.
For sure,
It really,
for
every
sure.
game has been close.
And it's such a car wreck right now in the standings in the Western Conference.
All the points mean something. And,
so
and
every game from here, 20 games. You got 20 game race to the playoffs.
Yep.
You want home ice advantage because
for as
honestly,
long as possible.
for as long as
Well-
possible, because really in the first round, there's going to be no first round matchup that's going to be a cakewalk.
No. No, they're all
so-
tough matchups.
all-
So if you get
Like
home ice
pick your
advantage, there's a
poison.
chance you get that extra gate.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I assume at some point in time in the next 8 or 10 weeks we'll do a playoff preview show.
Yes, we will.
And there'll be so much that we're going to have a show all into itself. There'll be going to be so
Yeah.
much to talk
Right.
about for that.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
series are going to be. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. If we started the playoffs today, they'd be excellent.
Well, yeah, and it's
First round
I guess the
series.
cool thing is, I'm thinking, you don't even really care who you play in the first round. It's going to be a good series.
Yeah.
You get LaSalle, you get Listowel, you get London, you get St. Mary's, you get Stratford, you get Elmira, who got the 2 leading scorers in the go. You know what I mean? There's so many good teams.
Yeah, yeah, and it is going to be wild. I think.
Almost picture yourself driving around to other closer, like, hey, the first round, the East Conference is not nearly as deep, but the 4-5 matchup is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
It might be a Fort Erie Caledonia first round matchup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you got 2-3 games before the trade deadline, so if you lose, Stratford loses both games this weekend. Does that tell hockey ops they need to make a change?
It would
I
seem
don't know.
like an
It's tough.
overreaction to me. I like their team. I like Stratford.
I do. I honestly do, and I'm not afraid to say this because at the beginning of the year I did not see this from Stratford.
Well, I
Just due to the sheer inexperience.
Well,
I said that
I
last
agree.
year.
Yeah,
It's not about the experience. It's about the talent you're bringing in. And
Yes.
after 30 or 40 or 50 games, you're not rookies anymore. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, these kids are 30 games in. And knowing the 07s, like I've watched these kids play hockey since they were Adams, since U10, the Slatterys and the Greens and the Petries of that team who just
Got a Scully.
scholarship to
Yeah.
Lake
Lake
Superior.
Superior.
Superior Scully. Shout out to Carter Petrie.
Yeah. Congrats.
So when you take a guy who I loved, Schooley,
Yeah,
and,
Zach's
and
awesome.
Lewis, and you bring back Nagy, and you've got lots of size now with Wilson and Wojnicki. Wojnicki
Yeah.
on defense. Whew. Depth in net with McDougall and a great mid-season
Yep.
pickup and Chase Furlong.
Yes.
You have to like everything about the Stratford team,
Yep.
and then you have to temper that expectation by looking at the rest of the teams, going, well, they probably like what they have too. If I'm Listowel, I like what I have. That's for sure. They're a tough team. They look they don't have the 2 big guys, the Uric brothers.
Yeah.
But they still otherwise look very, very similar to last year's team.
They do, and there's interesting things that are probably going to happen in this second half. You got Cole Lewis, who's 4 points from 100.
Mm-hmm.
You got Hunter Nagy, who's 13 points from 100, and he's going to want to turn it on to get to that. And any of these kids that had a nagging injury, they've had a week and a half now.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to come out right out of the chute hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
St.
it's-
Mary's has had the same problem.
Yep.
A couple of guys have been pretty banged up. One forward, Vandenbrink, has been banged up. Be good to get him back in the lineup. He is a 50-goal scorer in the league. And a couple of their D were banged up playing through stuff. So
Yeah, some of the kids, Stratford had 6 kids at that prospects game there.
Yeah.
On the,
Stratford kid won
Yeah.
MVP.
Yeah, I forget who it was.
Campbell?
Campbell. Yes, Darson Campbell. So this is the thing I've been saying all year. Darson Campbell and Joe Curtin on the back end for Stratford, 2 young defensemen, 16, 17-year-olds. They are such a steady pair of defensemen that never played together before this year. And my problem is when they're not on the ice together, I'm always, well, where's the other one? I'm trying to pick them out, but sometimes they split them up. But when these two are together, they're just so calming on that back end for Stratford.
Well, that and their numbers connect, right?
Yeah.
5 and 6,
Yeah.
if memory serves.
Yeah.
So, I really like where Stratford team is right now. Of course, they've got good coaching. They've got a tough barn to play in. They're ready to roll. And I think that 2 losses this weekend against 2 really tough teams, the nature of the losses should dictate more than
Yeah.
you lose 3-2 in overtime. Who cares?
Yeah.
You get pumped, maybe. It'd be an area of concern, but they're teenagers, as we've
I
been
think-
spouting about the World Juniors.
Right.
Yeah, one of
in
the
first section.
One of the good things is Friday night with London come town. London plays a hard, nasty
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, they're a blue collar.
Aiden
in
Wilson.
your face.
Aiden Wilson has done his suspension, so he'll be back on the ice too.
Well, and don't knock their speed either.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on the
No.
speed of the London team. And Razor, if you go down and watch that game, you'll see that this London team is pretty complete as well.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this this is a London team that was one win away from winning the Western Conference
Right.
last year. They lost their best player.
But they got, they
but
picked up some
they're
kids
London,
along the way.
right?
How's their goaltending?
This big Swedish kid, I can't remember his name.
I don't know his name, but he's a big lad.
6'3", 6'4", just another modern day stereotype that
Yeah.
takes up 80% of the net
Yeah.
and is mobile and handles the puck pretty
Yeah.
well too,
Okay.
to be honest with you. So they're set to go. Don't sleep on London. You just
Yeah.
and we just say it over and over and over, man. Any one of these top, I don't know if Elmira's got the team to go real deep, but they could take somebody out on the
And that's the
way.
thing. Elmira's going to be that team surprise. Everybody's still counting out Waterloo. I'm not yet. Let's
I've
see what
seen them
Waterloo does
play-
before the deadline.
I've seen them play 2 or 3 times. They are what I would deem to be top heavy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Oliver kid is really good. Of course, Klein. I
Klein.
consider Klein to be maybe the best player in the conference, and they have good goaltending. But
After
they've-
that, they get a
they've
little-
got some
yep.
D that can really turn the puck over when pressured.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if they've got the horses to outlast a Strathroy or an Elmira for the last playoff spot.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we've talked about before. It's a hot goalie that takes you to places that you desire to go, and I would take a. That's what scares me about Chatham. I haven't seen them play,
Oh.
but they've got that goalie that
DeBlassie.
that is on the NHL scouting list, and those are dangerous players.
Well,
those are
they
guys
are
that, like, in a
huge.
7-game series. that-
Chatham's a big,
They're
big team.
huge.
Yeah.
They
Like,
might be the biggest.
if
team
you play
I've seen
Chatham in
all
a
year.
7-game series,
Them maybe
it
I don't know.
might just be attrition.
yeah.
Who's bigger, St. Catharines or Chatham? Do you think?
Chatham.
Chatham's still bigger
Chatham's
than St. Catharines.
still
'Cause
bigger than St. Catharines,
And I saw them beat St. Mary's,
especially
and
on that small ice in
full
Chatham.
measure. And then again,
They'll
small
wear
ice.
you down. It's like that clip I'm sure you guys have seen, Paul Maurice there last year on the
Yep.
bench, where he's just like, fucking, like he's just F-bombing them, like,
Yep.
pound the fucking D.
Pound their D.
Wear them down.
Yep.
Like,
so they
and
got
that's-
nothing left by
right,
Game 7.
Right.
That's- If
And-
I am Chatham's coaching staff, that's exactly like I said. They really
Right.
impressed me when they came into St. Mary's and beat. They were the first ones to beat St. Mary's this year.
Yeah.
And they were full measure for it. They
Yeah.
were totally deserving of the win. And I don't want to. That's the one team, and I mentioned that last week when Clarkey
Yes.
was on. The one team that I would want to avoid is Chatham.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
and the fact I don't really want to go to Chatham 4 times, maybe in
right.
a 2-week period.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
there's
know,
that too,
the
isn't
travel, right? Like,
for sure.
Anyway,
I don't-
I don't like
Oh.
everybody else. I'm ready to get it going again.
I am.
And,
I can't wait to get back on the air, get everything going. Brian, you're coming Friday night, correct?
I am.
I think you are. I
No
don't
one's told me that.
We'll have a chat
Why would I?
because you have to do that game for me at the end of the month.
Yes.
I want to make sure you can set everything up.
I'll
We'll figure it out.
I'll check my schedule.
We'll figure it out.
His people will get a hold of your people.
Yeah, I'll talk to hockey ops and see what they say too.
All right, so make sure you come down to the Almond Friday night, folks. We got a good one with London in, and on Saturday night we have actually it was last Friday night with the juniors being
Yeah.
off. We had a great game with Stratford and Tilbury.
Free pizza night.
Free pizzas.
Right. As Razor's going out the back door, where do I get the pizza? You gotta go to the front door.
Well, I went in, and your sister-in-law
Oh,
was
was
so
she still
kind
there?
to get me one.
Yeah.
So, I
a
was
good
up in the.
hockey game.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a good game.
I wouldn't call it a great played hockey game, but it was a very entertaining hockey.
Exactly.
All I can say is the goalie for who were they playing?
Tilbury.
Tilbury.
Birds, yeah.
Tilbury made a save that if he was listed 1 inch shorter, it's not a save.
Right.
Because he used every piece of his skate blade
Yes.
to stop that puck.
Yes.
Anthony. I can't remember his first name. His last name is Anthony, and he is actually the third string goaltender.
And it was he got a 10 bell
Yes,
clapping
yes.
from the Armchair Chirpers zone.
Yes.
Because it was just one hell of a save.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
wonderful night. Something that I'd never done before.
Yep.
I always it's nice to know, even in my advanced age, that I can still do stuff that I've never done before. We did a live taping of the OSHL podcast in the barn in the VIP section, hanging out with Curly in the rail side. in the VIP section. And, you know, all the guys that are on the podcast with me were really excited to come down and watch a game at the Willie on a Friday night. There were 2 or 3 that had never been there before. And they just looked around, and like everybody else, when they show up in that rink, they just go, "Oh my God, look at this place!"
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like stepping through a time machine.
I got the nice little shout out from Brian because I happened to be in the area. Just thought I'd stop in and watch it.
Nice.
Well, they were asking about history of the barn and what
Yeah.
have you, and of course, you know, there are a few that know the history like Les does, and you know, it was just a really cool night all the way around where we did the podcast on live, and then we had a good hockey game.
Yep.
And Stratford played one hell of a first half.
Oh.
They were up 5-1
Yep.
about 8 minutes into the second period, and everybody was ready for a blowout, and
Yeah.
everybody was just licking their lips because for those of you who don't know, at the Irish games, if the home team scores 6, everybody gets a free pizza.
Small
Yeah.
pizza, 3 topping,
Yeah. 2 topping.
2 top.
Two
Oh,
topping.
come on.
Free
Small
pizza.
2, yes.
Details to come later.
That's all Patrick.
Yeah.
Got to shout out to Patrick
Sealing.
Sealing from Domino's Pizza.
Well, what a great businessman he is. He just doesn't
Unreal.
care, man. He just wants. I want I want your lips wrapped around my pizza.
He-
at
he-
all
It's the lost.
times.
It's the lost leader effect. I get in to buy a
Exactly,
pizza,
yep.
you're gonna buy something,
Right?
Absolutely, it is.
100%. You don't just go in there for a small. You're going to get a large or something else while you're there.
I would just go in there for a small, but I'm cheap that way.
But no, you're right though. Like the game started off like Mitch Casey, that first goal, the pass from Stokes. So both of them were on
What a
their
feather.
opposite sides. So Stokes, the left-hand shot,
And
That-
he was below the goal
yes,
line.
yes, that was
put
a
it
hell of a
over
pass.
two sticks, 2 Tilbury sticks,
Yeah.
across to the other
saucer pass,
beautiful saucer pass. And Mitch Casey,
Mitch called for it. He called
yeah.
for it. We saw it. We said that. He's calling for it.
Yeah,
sure
you
enough,
guys
Stokes
And I
Stokes
can't
free
remember
field.
if he one-timed it.
He
or
did.
if
It was a
yeah,
one-timer.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the
And
goalie couldn't
bang.
get over there.
No
yeah.
chance. Yeah.
And
What a
like it was
beautiful
just,
goal.
it was a great pass, great finish. And then they ended up, Stokes got in on the second goal from Hall and O'Brien. And then they went up 3-0. Martin got a goal from Palillo and Magwood. So they're riding high, 3-0 going into the first intermission. Or it was 3-1 after the first intermission. Then Magwood from Casey and Hall, and then Hall from Magwood. They had a 5-2 lead after 2 periods. And like you said, everybody thought that, well, let's get our pizza and this game's
really
over.
looked like a blowout.
It
Yes.
really did.
Tilbury's defense to me looked like they were skating in sand.
Yeah.
And
And
Stratford's, and I tell you what, I don't want to get in front of your recap, but Jeff Magwood
Unreal.
is, I think I am ready to call him the best player the Irish have had.
I would agree.
What an
He's that good.
incredible hockey player.
Yep.
That was a
This
great
guy
pickup
is.
by Pye. Him and Hall.
If you want to see, I mean, this is the biggest difference between junior hockey and senior hockey, is that every once in a while you see a player, and Tilbury came in with their own guy, the captain Dylan Denemy,
Yeah.
who
Leads
in
the
year 2 of the OSHL led the league in scoring with, I think, 50 or 52 points in a 24-game schedule. Came into Stratford in the middle of the season, had 2 goals, 2 assists, and a fight. Almost a double Gordie Howe hat. What an incredible leader this guy is. But Jeff Magwood, is there anything this guy doesn't do at a high level of speed?
He's worth the price of admission.
Oh, my
like
God.
he's as good as Brennan Feasy from
I think
Alvinston.
so. I think
He really
100%.
is.
Yep.
If they'd have had Magwood last year when they were playing Alvinston,
Yes.
they, at the very least,
Yes.
would have gone to Game 7.
Well, they did go to Game 7 with.
They lost in 6 games.
Was it 6?
in
yeah,
Alvinston.
6.
I thought
And,
you're right. Yeah.
Maybe Magwood is that counterpunch Stratford needs because you got Elvis and still only 1 loss.
Because Alvinston is 17-1.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Stratford has, I believe, Strathroy coming in this Saturday night. And in 3 weeks,
Folks,
January 25th,
get your tickets.
if you wanna
Alvinston's in
see
town.
the highest level of hockey that has probably happened in this city in decades. Alvinston Killer Bees and the Stratford Fighting Irish, Saturday, January the 25th. And this is not me doing my best Gene Tunney promotional impression. I'm here to tell you, I cannot think of the potential for better hockey being played in that rink. I can't think of two teams that have come to this city and played hockey on that ice that are better than these two.
You'll have the top 3 players in the West in Western Ontario. You got James McEwen, Brennan Feasy, and Jeff Magwood. Those are the 3 top players playing in that game. Like, it's going to be electric.
And that is the only junior game in town that weekend.
Oh, really? The juniors
Stratford
don't
is
play?
in St. Thomas Friday night.
Okay.
And then in Waterloo Sunday afternoon. So that is the only
Folks,
junior game.
the only game.
The only, I mean, not
It's the
junior
only
game.
game.
The only game in
The
Stratford
only
that
game.
weekend.
Yeah, so, hey, folks, you know, the junior Bs are awesome. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But if you
It's a
wanna-
different game.
It is a totally different game. Like, it's hilarious how many people come to the Irish games thinking that it's just a beer league, you know, a good city league. Folks, these guys are skilled.
Yep.
Like,
This ain't your
Feasy.
daddy's senior hockey.
It's not the
Absolutely
senior hockey
not.
from when
Put it
I was
thi-
a kid.
Let me put it
Absolutely
this
not.
way, and you use the junior hockey reference. I'll make a reference for you. Ethan Lamoureux and Jacob Chandler were 2 of the best junior B players in the Western Conference 2 years ago with the Lincolns.
Yes.
They took, they were incredible, these 2 guys. They were literally 2 of the best players in the Western Conference, and they both went and signed with Alvinston. These guys are third liners.
yeah.
Well, and Elvinston also picked up Zach McCann this year, who is putting the numbers up in Elvinston.
Ex-junior B captain.
Captain of the Stratford Warriors,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know, we know he has the talent because he did it here for
And-
3 years,
and
4 years.
That'll just give you an idea how good
Clarkie's
Alvinston
daughter's
is.
boyfriend, I forget his name, he's playing for, like, these guys are stacked.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to get into why Alvinston went from being the laughing stock of the league to being the only losing 1 game,
It
Well,
is what
let's
it is.
just say it's the Dodger theory.
Yeah.
right?
If you throw enough money at a problem, it'll go away.
There was apparently a rich farmer in the area that really loved his grandson's favorite team, but that's for another conversation. But folks,
But at the end of the day, you have to
the
give
talent
the
is
credit to
there.
Alvinston. They have not only have they put together an incredible hockey team, they bought a jumbotron.
It's,
I know.
It's
Alvinston.
unreal.
When can we get one
Like
at
how
the
many
Almond?
people live in Alvinston, dude?
It's
That's
unreal.
got to be the smallest town on the planet
Yeah.
that's got a jumbotron in a hockey rink.
Imagine going to Dufferin Arena and
And
you've got
seeing
a
a
jumbotron
jumbotron
that takes up 3/4 of the one wall.
What an
It's
incredible
unbelievable.
show. And to their credit, what a show they put on.
Oh,
They've got
yeah.
Fireworks
Fireworks
coming
when
out.
they come out on the
They
ice.
got drones. Drones come
Yes.
out and fly around the
Yeah.
ice with the guys when they're doing their
Yeah.
warm-up. They put on a really, really, really good
They
show.
do. They do.
It's not a huge rink. If I had to guess, probably 350,
Yeah.
maybe 400, because it's one of those one-sided
Yep.
rinks.
Yep.
Like, who can I compare it to? Mitchell.
Yep.
Is probably a good comparison capacity-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes him, but you know what? Nobody liked the 52 Yankees either.
Well,
nobody likes
they've
that
gone-
team that always wins.
Right or wrong, they're playing apparently within the rules, and they are by far the most skilled team in the league. That doesn't always win you
And
championships,
They're
though.
dragging the rest of the league up with them.
Yes.
And, you know, there are so many good hockey players in this league. Delhi is in, I think, 7th place.
And they're here this weekend.
Dunville, so they got to be in 8th. I stopped at 7th.
Then they're in 8th place.
Yeah.
But keeping in mind, they've got Ben Blacker, who's probably 2 or 3 best goalie in the league, and Chris Martin, who is leading the league in goals. That's an 8th place team. I mean, Tilbury's got Winkworth and Dylan Denemy, and of course Stratford's got their stars, and Alora's got their stars, and
Yep.
Tilsonburg's got their stars, and this is the
Like
real
it's
deal, folks.
other than Alvinston, like Alvinston's running away with it. They got 34 points.
The rest of the division's a mess.
Yeah.
Almost as bad as the junior B, Luke.
You've got Alora with 23 points. Now they score a lot of goals too. They give up a lot of goals, but they score. They're able to get out of a lot of
9-5
messes
hockey
by
games
scoring.
with Alora.
Yeah, and then you got Stratford now alone in 3rd, Petrolia's fallen out of third place. They're all the way down in fifth.
They've lost 5 straight.
Yep. So Stratford's now in third with 19 points. You've got Tillsonburg in fourth, tied with Petrolia at 18. And then you got Tilbury and Dunville, both tied for sixth with 16 points. So it's tight.
But they're all right around 500.
Yeah.
3 through 7 are pretty much all back.
They're all, yeah, you're right. 9 and 7, 9 and 9, 7 and 11. Like they're all around
Stratford's
500.
got a couple games in hand, which will come in real handy later on in the schedule.
Yeah, them and Elora got 2 games in hand, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see Feezy and McEwen. Like when I went to Elvinston in October for the Irish game, it was electric.
It's a zoo in there, man.
And it is
Those
a
fans
zoo.
are nuts.
It reminded me of Jerry Harrigan when he would come to Stratford with the Siskins on a Friday night. Like they hated Pie there, and they were like yelling at him, and like it was just electric energy. And it's standing room only, all around the glass. Like it's, you better if you want some entertainment, folks. There's no Junior B game Friday night. Come to the Allman on Saturday night on January 25th. Is it? And so that's going to be entertaining. But
They have Delhi this weekend?
It is Strathroy this
Strathroy
weekend.
this
And
weekend.
The cool thing about Strathroy is that they've got the best goaltender in the league, Evan DeBrouwer.
Yes.
After, let's see if I want to make sure I get my facts straight here. I believe it was after the first 12 games, which is the halfway point of this sprint called the OSHL schedule, that in the first 12 games, Strathroy had only given up 37 goals, or 3 a game.
okay,
And they were in last.
because they couldn't score.
Because they can't score
Right.
to save their lives, and that'll tell you how good he was leading the league in saves,
Right.
leading the league in save percentage,
Yeah,
leading the
yeah.
league in goals against, and they were in last.
Crazy.
That's how good Evan DeBrouwer is, and he's coming to town Saturday night.
And they got arguably the best jerseys, I think, too. In the
Well, if you're a
league.
Flyers fan.
Right.
Well,
I
not
just
only that,
love
but they
them.
got
I
the
love
black
them.
with the big orange
Yeah.
jet.
Yeah,
on
with the
front
jet
there.
on it.
Oh,
Like they're cool.
They
They're-
do look sharp.
They really are cool. So, but yeah. So come down Friday or Saturday night. You've got that game, but folks, great entertainment. I'm telling you. You want to come down? A lot of times too. You can score free tickets, and not to
The
mention
golden bucket's up to $900.
$900. So a guy threw the puck. I was like about a foot away.
Razor's always close, but
Right?
it doesn't
Close,
have
but
enough
no cigar.
room for him.
But I had to use strategy. I had one puck left, and a guy behind me throws the puck and hits the opening. Like he couldn't have got any
we saw that.
closer. And I didn't have time to go to a different area and come at it.
That's
from a
when you
different
hum it
angle.
at the bucket just to make sure his puck doesn't
Well,
go in.
I did. I purposely just threw it because I didn't want to hit his puck and have it go in.
No, you
because-
hum it at the
because
barrel.
Now it's 100 next week, and so I ended up just throwing it on the ice willy nilly. $900 next
And
week.
if the 50-50's on a green ticket next week, so help me God, I'm not playing ever again. Let that be a warning to you, Jeff Morris.
Don't look at me. You actually won this century. How many friggin' games have I been to live at the rink in whatever town I'm in?
And Invaders wins.
See, no matter where I go, a frickin'
Jeez.
Vaders wins the 50-50.
We had a pretty good streak a few years ago. My dad would win, then I won. Then my dad won again.
Oh,
I'm standing
wow.
up there in the corner, just over as you'd be going out on your tractor, we're right
Yeah.
over your right shoulder. And it was like, it was crazy. Everybody around me is winning money, and I'm out like, holy mackerel, what the hell? What am I? Chopped liver?
Well,
What am
when
I,
you buy them at Dufferin on your way to the Almond, it doesn't work out
Maybe
very
that's-
well.
You just got to go to Blow's Travel and or Blow's Stationery and pick up a roll and hand that to the guy as he's reading
just
about.
beat the
right?
other guy too. Oh yeah, it's here. Okay, hold on.
Hey, I guess if you have to do the PA next time, you know how to win.
Yeah,
Just your own.
Right?
Yeah, that was tempting. It's like 50-50.
Just pull your own out, right?
Let me read this ticket.
And then the booth phones up. That's not the same number we have. Oh, it's the only one I got.
Right?
Just whoever shows up, just pay the man.
Pay the man his money.
It could be worse. You could go to an arena where they ask you to bring change for the 50-50 because they don't have enough to pay it out.
I tell you what, though, the For those who haven't been to a Fighting Irish game, there's so much going on in this rink. Like, you just can't believe all the stuff.
It's
going on.
entertainment. Like it's
just,
it's
you
an
know,
entertainment.
It reminds me of going to taking a kid to a major league ball game where there's always something
Right.
going on around.
So
Right.
this
the
past
ballpark.
Saturday, Founts, if you're still listening, Lauren, John's father-in-law, stands
Yeah.
up there with us, and we're going, Lauren, they let you out by yourself. And he goes, yeah. He says, I'm all alone tonight. And I said, oh boy, this could be trouble, Lauren. I said, you need to phone Cheryl and tell her you need to be picked up. You don't know where you are. We got you all hammered. And then he goes, oh, wouldn't that be funny? Lauren was a hoot.
Love
It was-
Lauren.
oh, I love
Lauren's
it.
always up there with us in the Chirper zone.
Yeah, he was just a hoot. And we're going, yeah, you just tell him we got you all liquored up and say you got a bag of
Got a bag of
treats from down at the VIP.
From
You were-
Railside.
You were down on the VIP and Railside. He gave you a bag of treats and there was a gummy in there, so you ate it.
Oh.
Now you don't know where you are or what your
Why
name
wouldn't you?
is.
It's a Friday night in Christmas holidays. Live a little.
We're like, they gave you a pass to come out by yourself, Lauren, because Cheryl and John are with you.
Yep. It'll be the last time you get a hall pass over Christmas.
That's right. It was a good time, though. It's always great to see
Well,
those guys.
I can't say enough with Jeff Morris and all the staff and volunteers.
And Morris
they
wasn't
do-
there on Saturday night.
No, he's down
No.
in
So
Florida.
he was down in
No.
Florida taking his mom to Florida like he does every year.
Yeah.
And so Brian Grasby was doing his job, and Brian comes up to me and says, I don't know how he does this.
Oh,
He's a rock star.
so much energy.
He's an
expended.
absolute rock star.
And I
He's
love
not
Jeff
young,
Morris.
He's
to
older
death.
than I am.
Yep.
Like, he's
yeah.
old.
Yeah.
And he-
Old.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Way old.
Hey, Mo, you might be old, but you're still number one in my books, buddy.
So,
They do a great job.
Yeah.
And,
and Dave
and
Cassoni, who's
Yep.
older than Mo, I
Yep.
think. All the energy he's doing such a good job behind the bench
Yeah.
as interim head coach, and the organization really has bounced back
They really have.
nicely, and 2 straight wins. And you know what? I was thinking, I wonder if this chain of events might serve to galvanize the locker room.
Yeah, it's like a coach boost, right?
I know they lost some good talent.
Well, I
like-
mean, there were some guys who were there specifically for Pie.
yeah.
Jared Nash has moved on. He's gone to Seaforth. A couple others. But at the end of the day, though, they showed that they can still beat a really good
100.
Tilbury team.
Elora.
They beat
Last
Elora,
week.
the second place team.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, you just know that this team, give them a chance to gel a little bit, because there's been some change, and they've got 8 games left until playoffs.
Yeah.
And playoffs start around the same time as the juniors.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy, that rink is so much fun in the spring now with 2
Oh,
hockey
my
Yes.
clubs.
God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember 2 years ago in 22, where we were the only rink that I know of in the entire province
Had 2 teams still
whose
going.
junior and senior teams were in the league final
Right.
and won. They both won.
Yeah,
the
they both won.
championships.
Yeah.
Like they were.
And that place rocked 3 nights a week,
Oh.
That
4 nights a
place
week.
was packed
Yeah.
4 nights a week.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to be around for that.
Yeah.
And when the Irish finally went into Tilsonburg and
Yeah, I'll know.
scored the overtime goal in Game 4 to win the championship, it was just the culmination of 3 years of determination
Yeah.
and hard work.
Hard work,
And
sleepless
Now
nights.
it seems like a long time ago, but at the end of the day, there was another 500 people
Yep.
at the rink
Yeah.
on Friday night, which is not their normal night. We've gone through the time change, which hasn't helped attendance. I can tell you that. It hasn't hurt it a whole lot, but it sure hasn't helped. There's a lot of folks who would rather come and watch
100%.
3:30.
Yeah.
But, if you got a problem with that, folks, call up the city, because they're the ones that made a move. They're going to get
Yeah.
Michelle Light in trouble now. It's not Michelle's
Yeah.
fault.
Yes.
She'll probably answer the phone, but it's not her fault. Anyways, so it's just so cool to be part of this organization still. Obviously, I wish things were going on a little differently than they were, but right now there's a lot of positives, and I think we're just building towards something that could be really cool.
Yeah.
It could be another very long spring
Good.
in the Willie for both local hockey clubs.
That
this
would be
season.
great.
Yeah, I don't know what we'd do if we had Stratford and Elvinson and Stratford and St. Mary's.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
my God.
Well,
You'd
In
have
the-
to.
in the league
I'd be out
finals.
front scalping tickets to both of them.
I'd
Right.
first thing I'm headed for is like some certs.
Yeah.
Some kind of.
There'd be a lot of games we'd be doing,
lot of
Brian.
stress.
Hey, and I give him credit. Alvinston travels well. Like last year in
Remember when they played in the playoffs?
yes.
2 bus loads of people
Yes.
show up, and not at puck drop. They showed
No,
up
they
90
were-
minutes before the game and drank us
well,
out of
now
beer.
the $3 beers didn't hurt either, right?
But you remember they
What? I don't remember. Oh, wait.
they made a pyramid in the far
Yeah.
corner
yes.
that was like, I don't even know how they got the top view
Yeah.
on there, because that was like 8 feet high, it seemed. I think Buddy was picking his friend up so he could get the beers. There was, I mean, it was
So
the whole
Yeah.
pane of glass was covered with beer in a pyramid.
don't quote me, but Jeff Morris did say that they had budgeted for 2 nights of $3 beers.
True.
They've only used one,
Yep.
so don't be surprised. I'm not saying that it is, but
Hey.
don't be surprised if on January 25th,
Just ask,
$3 beer night.
just ask Jeff Morris what I say to him every time I see him. When is my $3 beer night coming back, Jeff?
So anybody who knows Jeff Morris, shoot him out a text now and tell him
We
I
want
promise
$3
I'm gonna bring
beers,
12
Jeff.
friends to the game if you make it $3 beer night.
A guy like Greg Barkley can go there with a 20,
Well,
drink 6 beers,
hey,
and go home with money in his pocket.
if you want the
'Cause he
God honest
doesn't-
truth,
he doesn't.
I think I
tip.
bought 1 beer that night.
Yeah, Clarkey was kept us very
Well,
lubricated.
everybody kept us very well
Yeah.
lubricated up there because we have that little shelf in front of us. And every time you turn around, there'd be another cold Miller Lite there.
Yeah.
Well, if you spell it BER, none of us up there are going to turn it away.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know, and they just kept coming. But when they're $3, it's easy to have a loose wallet when they're $3
Yeah.
because it's $3, man.
but it's great hockey. Like
cheaper
if
than
it
a
was
bottle of
terrible
pop.
hockey, I don't care. You know how cheap the beers are. You're not going to bring people in. It's great hockey, folks.
great hockey.
You know, and then they've got the little tricycle races. They've got the golf. Hitting the golf balls into the net. Doing.
Yeah, that kind of went off the rails
tic-tac-toe.
with that one girl.
Oh, she hit all the balls at once.
she hit the
She was
bucket.
under the impression that you just want to shoot
Yeah.
all the balls at once with your golf club.
Yeah.
Well, she ended up winning, though.
Yeah, she
well,
did.
She
yeah,
ended up
if you
winning.
shoot
She
6 at a
recovered,
time, one or
yeah.
two of them
She
got it.
recovered very well and got the tic-tac-toe. But we were
So
it seems to be something like that during a period. We're sitting up there drinking beers, just talking to everybody, and all of a sudden something will catch somebody's eye, and then we'll start cheering for them, right? Because
there's always something promotional going on there, and Paula does a great job for the Irish going around with
Yep.
the cordless mic.
she's doing the announcing right now.
She's doing
so.
the PA now.
Okay, so but yeah,
She's getting better at it.
yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
All
She's
right.
not shy, that girl. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No, Paula is not shy. All right,
Right.
folks. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Just start the conversation.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and all social media.
Yeah, and we'll see you at the rinks. Good
All
night.
right. Night.